Hey y'all, how you doing? QB here. And I know I am so sorry, y'all bear with me. The little sinus issues, but I'm okay. Welcome to Ladies Night. I'm your host, Quibila Jones, better known as QB. And tonight we got a great topic for y'all. So I want to first bring in my other panelist, um, the Mrs. to the M3. How you doing? The Mrs. Knowledge and Relationships herself. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you? It's so good to see you again. I'm glad to be on Ladies' Night.
You too. And I hope that this don't get in the way. If I do, you just take it. If you hear me coughing, just take up. Well, tonight, our topic is boss lady, and also it's a sipping chat. Kind of chill vibe going on here. So I'm sipping on some water, some much needed water. What are you
Mm.
sipping on, Miss?
I also have water. I just finished a bubbly water with a little bit of caffeine. It's called a blood orange bubbly.
Oh,
Target sells it.
that
Yeah.
sounds
Hmm.
So first, want to do a little housekeeping, little disclaimers tonight because this topic and because it's ladies' night. Period. We ask that you please be respectful of what everyone has to say. Um, Everybody's opinions. I'm so sorry. Everybody's opinions are their own. You don't have to agree. You don't have to like it. But please, we ask you to be respectful of other people. That's just common courtesy. Period. Tonight's topic is about boss lady or being a boss lady, where traditional and modern meet. As I said in the promo, those women can exist in the same time and space. I know people have their thoughts, feelings, and whatever about it, and I'm not going to dismiss their opinions. I just have mine from my experience, and I hope that we have a very lively, wonderful conversation. We are going to have a gentleman on the panel, so it's going to be a little mixed company tonight. Um, well, he'll be in and out because his service is, a little shady, but we're gonna see what he can do. First, before we get started with any conversation, want to say hello to the Harris Media Group. Peace,
Hi.
family. Salute to the ladies in the chat. Hello to you
Like
all.
so, like so.
Want to say welcome, Wizbot, Cool Gamer, who says hello. Razik, who says he's here, but the service again is a little shady. Mrs. She said, "Good evening, good people." Hello, ladies. Thank you all. And Mrs. She said, "Please, you're more than welcome to join us in the panel, give your perspective."
Yeah.
Um, and so, because we want to have a healthy, inclusive dialogue, everybody's opinions are welcome. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get right into okay, what is a boss? This term can mean many things to many people. So I want to hear from you all and Mrs. M3. When you hear the word boss, what do you think?
Boss is someone that knows their business inside and out and can teach it to other people.
Okay.
Um, and hopefully, they're the kind that are genuinely um, a people person, so they have relationship rapport with the people that they are training, teaching, so
Okay.
that it can be run well when they're not around.
All right. And then when you hear the term lady, separate from boss, what comes to mind when you hear lady?
Lady, I think the word classy. I think the word genuine. Someone who doesn't have to be boisterous or, look at me, here I am. Just her presence. You know what I'm saying? Like her presence just exudes the energy that, oh, this is someone to be respected. Even though I don't know who that is, they're walking into the room and there's just something about this person that says, you know, she's kind, she's approachable. That's a lady, I think.
Yes. All right. I want to take a pause and welcome another one of our Queen sisters, my online bestie,
Hey.
Queen Forever. How you
What's up?
doing?
What's up?
Welcome.
And then I want to recognize some people in the chat. Mr. Knowledge and Relationships himself, Mr. M3, thank you for holding down for the ladies. He's our security, so like if y'all get out of pocket, he gonna come get you.
Backstage you go.
But for real. And y'all hit the like button, please, 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 and subscribe. Want to shout out to one of my podcast besties, Porch Time with Miss McKinney. How you doing? She says, "Hey y'all." Um,
Hey.
and then hello to Quantum Love Metaphysician. Peace, everyone. Harris Trapp says, "Peace, Queen," and three. And so Mrs.
I
M,
I
huh?
love that. I love that name, Porch Time. That just throws me back to childhood, sitting on my porch and in the neighborhood. That's so cool. Anyway, I
You
just
have to
had a,
check
a
her out.
moment.
I mean, that's her vibe, so you have to check
Yeah.
her out. She lives in the southern states, and so I'm not gonna give away her location, but lives in the southern states, and it's just like sitting on the porch having a conversation with a glass of tea or lemonade or something. So yeah,
Nice.
you will love her vibe and her discussion. So please go check her out. No shameless plugs around here. Okay. Mrs. She said, says, a boss is a person who is in charge of a worker group or organization, gives orders in a dominating manner. Thank you for that. So, Queen, when you hear the word boss and when you hear the word lady, like separately, what does it say to you? I mean, what do you think of?
Um, a masculine woman.
Oh, a boss? When
Yeah.
you hear boss?
A boss
Okay.
lady. When I hear those two things put together in
Okay.
this time, in
Uh,
this day and age currently, I just think of the images that flood me from Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. Is always some chick walking around. I don't need no do. I got money. Like, and it's fine. You know, money. You can buy anything with money. But at the end of the day, you laying alone by yourself. So yeah, I just think of someone who's very masculine, and I also think of someone who's broken.
oh, okay.
Because to me, a real boss is not someone who parades around and has to say it. They just move in that space. When you,
Okay.
to me, it's like you faking the funk. You faking it till you make it. If I gotta, keep tooting that horn, that means that horn ain't really there, and I'm waiting on Amazon to deliver that horn.
Okay.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm waiting on my Prime, girl, Amazon Prime.
Okay, but then when you hear the word lady just by itself, what do you think of?
Um, I think of someone who is flexible,
Okay.
meaning they know when to turn up, they know when to turn down, they know how to move and shake in different spaces. You know, um, they don't always have to have that um uh warrior princess mode all
Okay.
day. Like always walking around with a chip on your shoulder. You allow people or the other gender to do things and take care of you, even though you may be able to do it yourself.
Okay. I got you. So I, tried to do, not tried, I did some, research like I always do. And of course, I couldn't find like one article or one, publication that addressed boss lady. Of course, there were, bosses and ladies and this, that, and whatever. I did run across one um, article that's titled, come on, Boss Lady, Five Ways to Harness Your Power. And I chose this title, Boss Lady, because I feel that, okay, and then traditional meets modern. Okay, so before we get too deep into Boss Lady, let's talk about traditional versus modern. Can they exist in the same? Do you feel they can exist in the same time and space? Queen, what are your thoughts? Traditional versus modern, and can
Yeah,
they both
I
exist
think I
together?
think they I think they can. It's called you evolving. You know, I think it's a balance of when to turn it on, when to turn it off, and not knowing when one is needed versus the other one. So it's a balance, maturity. I call it. You got to
All
be
right,
mature to be able to turn it on and off.
all right, Mrs. M3.
Uh, Traditional versus modern, what? Like in a house, you can have both. But
Oh,
how do you mean?
since this ladies' night in reference to women, so traditional
Traditional
woman
women versus
versus
modern women?
modern woman, and can they both exist in the same time and space? In your opinion?
Can they exist in one person or can they
Yes.
exist with each other?
Well, in one person. I'm sorry.
Traditional versus modern woman. I think we all have several hats. Sometimes we have to be the chief, and sometimes we have to be the Indians, so to speak, or Native Americans, however you want to say it. Um, and I think that if you are fully aware of yourself in your time and space, you can take off and put on those hats as needed. But I know that every individual has to have an ability or even a little bit of space of time to separate the two. I don't think that it's necessary for them to exist in the same space. If you're confident with your spouse, you don't have to be that domineering person that they see modern women as. You can be that traditional woman because he's got things, he's handling things, and you're confident in that space, you're secure. But when you're not secure with your spouse or with your conditions, it may come off as you have to be that uh, domineering, like uh, sometimes belittling person if you don't feel secure, if you don't feel safe. I think that they don't have to exist in the same space. Can they exist in the same space, embodied in the same person at the same time? That looks crazy. I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right. Well, I want to share something that I've one article that I found, and it talks about the traditional woman understands the values of a companion, husband, provider, father, and not a baby daddy. Modern women get a protection and provider and service women get protection, a provider, and services not from men but from the government. Modern women require more services from the government than traditional women who relied on their spouses. And that's just one viewpoint on traditional versus modern. Mrs. She says, I am living in the modern day as a traditional woman. I do not think they are the same and won't be duality. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And I guess maybe I am overly optimistic and feel that a woman can exemplify, exhibit, I guess, or whatever word. I can't pick my words right now, but both of those aspects. And it, as Queen mentioned, it's about finding the balance and learning when to turn one off and the other on. Now, this part about modern women to rely on the government. Yes and no, but I do feel there are women that choose to have the mindset of I don't need a man. I don't need a man, or to some degree they don't want a man in their life for whatever reason. Um, I don't know. I just feel that, and this is just my opinion based on how I was raised and the time period I was raised in. I do have a lot of traditional values, and I feel that I can bring those to today and still be a woman of the times without seeming old fashioned. I don't know. That's me. Um,
But I do think that they can exist at the same time. It's like yin and yang, good and evil. There's always good and evil in us at every given moment at the same time. It's what you're gonna allow to, or how you feeling. So if you want to give in to Yang and Yang want to go drop kick somebody, you're gonna go drop kick somebody. If Yang want to go hug somebody, you're gonna go hug somebody. So they both exist at the same time in the
yeah.
same person. So I do believe that modern and tradition is duality can exist at the same time in the same person. I do believe I believe that it's okay. You know, I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't
Okay.
think it's a bad thing, you know.
Okay.
So I just think it's all about your mind frame.
Okay. So
Yeah, I think when I was mentioning at the same time, like it would look crazy if you were hugging and kicking the person. You know what I'm saying? Like you choose your moment. It's the same person, but you know your battle, and you know your comfort, your safe space. So you don't have
But
to be that.
you hugging
You
them to
know,
body slam them.
good grace.
That's a hug. That's yin and yang right there. A body slam. I'm gonna come hug you, and I'm gonna throw you on the floor. It's the same. There you go. Duality. A body slam.
Yeah.
oh gosh. So Mrs.
That
She
it,
said,
it
I'm
works.
sorry. Well, you done. I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you,
No,
Miss.
that's a good example.
Okay. Mrs. She says now me as a woman needing to be in a more of a masculine character within certain environments. Yes. So there are times we have to operate in our more masculine space, and I've been trying to have this conversation with several people that we all possess masculine and feminine energy. It's not saying feminine as in acting like a woman feminine. It's that softer side of you, that more nurturing and caring aspect of your personality, of your character, versus okay, I need to be in this mode where I need to go get stuff done, and I don't have time to sit and have a pity party and cry. I gotta get stuff done. And so that to me is what a boss is. The lady aspect comes in where, okay, I know how to be softer, and just kind of be in the moment and be what my spouse, if I have a spouse, be what my spouse needs from me in that moment, and not be so hard and combative. That's my take on it, and everyone has different views on that. Razik says, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to join tonight. He's in Oregon, and so he'll be there to Monday or Portland. And so some of the time he'll join us as our antagonist. Some of the time,
Oh, we'll miss you, Razi. I can put my coffee filters away now. Safe driving.
and so I want to welcome another one of our Queen sisters to the panel, um, OG Patrice. Greetings and salutations, family. So greetings. Thank you for joining us, OG. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How you ladies doing tonight?
I am wonderful.
Great.
So,
Happy
Oh,
um,
he
belated
came anyway.
birthday.
Oh,
Happy belated birthday, Mrs. OG Patrice. It's so good to see you. I was in the
Thank you.
chat on your birthday.
Thank you. I saw you and I saw the birthday wish, so thank you very much. I appreciate that.
all right. So, I want to quickly say hello to JP, the aspiring matriarch. Um, Thank you for checking in. And I see Razik has decided to enter the Queen's Court. Razik, you'll get your moment to speak. Of course, it's ladies' night, ladies first. Um, Go ahead, Miss OG.
Yeah, salute to the chat. Hello to everyone in on the panel and to the chat. This is a very interesting conversation, but a very normal conversation. It's been pinging a lot in these YouTube streets, and I think that a lot of times we adults make things more complicated than they have to be, right?
Okay.
I believe that women have been living in a world that has been ever changing since the beginning of time. And if anybody is more flexible and adaptable, it's women. We have had to adapt to an entire world changing around us as we know it, from going
Mm-hmm.
to more traditional upbringings to a more modern world. And for the most part, I think we've done just fine. We've done pretty well. I know for me, I grew up traditional, but I learned to adapt to some modern things. Everything modern is not all bad, right? Like everything traditional is not all good. So we have to take some good with some bad. There was some things traditionally that I was raised to believe and do that I no longer do, right? Growing up traditional. So and I've adapted some new modern things. I think it's all perspective and it's subjective, and it's depending on how you view yourself and how you view yourself in the world,
Okay.
and especially as a woman, and where your place is in society, where your place is in a relationship, whether it's a relationship or a marriage, or a relationship leading towards marriage. What does that look like for you, and you and your mate, and how you mesh together and make that work.
Okay. So let's talk about the aspect. We're going to go back to traditional versus modern. And there's, many articles, and everybody, again, has their own opinion and thoughts on this matter. So there's one particular article, the author talks about traditional women tend to be a little more conservative, whereas modern women are a little more liberal in their thought processes, and more modern women tend to seek more equality in their relationships, versus modern women really do put their husband or spouse, partner, whoever first, and their children, and they are there to take care of everybody else. And not to say they're doormats, they just have their priorities arranged a little different than the modern woman. So, anyone would like to speak on your thoughts on that? We can play musical chairs or I'll pick somebody.
Well, I could just say I definitely can see some truth in that. I see the difference in how I was raised by my mother and how my brothers, girlfriends, and wives raise their children, or their daughters, especially. I can see the difference totally in that, and a lot of things, a lot of those talking points you just said, um, is true to some extent, right? And then I also see some traditional things in my nieces as well, and I'm speaking, specifically from a female side, but um, yeah, I believe that is definitely some truth to that, in my humble opinion. But I think if as long as it's within self-respect and
Okay.
within reason, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Okay. I want to send some love and peace out to JP. Um, People were asking how they're doing, and they said spirit is peace, body's under assault. Thank you all for asking. So let's just send them. I apologize. I don't know if JP is a man or woman. Let's send them some love
She's a
and light.
lady.
Lady, okay. I
Mhm.
apologize. Let's send them some love and light, and pray that whatever they're dealing with is handled swiftly. Um, and want to say hello to Big Rig Slaps. I always get tongue tied on his name. How you doing? Shout out to the ladies and people in the chat. Big Rick Slaps is in the building. All right, so Queen or Mrs. M3, would you like to have anything to say? I was going to try to give Rosique a chance, but I guess his service is still popping in and out. So, um, Queen or Mrs. M3?
Have we gone to the next thing, or are we still
No, we're just
defining
still.
it?
So, based on what I mentioned about traditional versus modern, more conservative versus more liberal, more attentive versus, okay, I want equality, or different priorities aligned in different ways. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I think in general, no matter what it is that we're comparing, whether it's man to woman or, um, whatever, non-binary, binary, everyone wants their equity. Not everyone wants equality. When we say equality, we're not really saying equality, it's equity, right?
Okay.
So, there's a famous picture where you've got these three height kids, different heights, and they all get on the picture of equality. They all get a little soapbox to stand on, or
Okay.
crate. The tall one already can see over the fence and look at the baseball game. The middle one, his crate makes him about the same height as the tall one without a crate. And then the shortest one was the one that really needed the crate.
Okay.
In equality, the ones that need the support got the support, the crates. The one that didn't need it didn't get it. But that's equity. Sorry, in equity, they received what they needed. Each person received what they needed, and that's kind of has a connotations back to, in I guess the 60s, what they would call communism. But that was all looked at as bad, and now you see our generation now looking at Canada like, man, it's not communism, it's community, in a way that everyone gets helped, their medical care taken care of, our medical care super expensive, right? And that thing is of equity versus equality, it's in everything, and you can see it echoes everywhere. People, like, if we're working the same job as a man, we want to have the same amount of pay as a man. Okay, if we're thinking binary. If we're putting in time and effort with our family, and someone on the job doesn't have a family, that person that doesn't have a family still wants to be able to take their vacation when they want to. They don't want to be told, oh, you have to work because you don't have kids, so we're choosing you to do the job. You see, equality, it would say, well, because it's a hardship for this person, but it's not as hard for you, we're going to give you more of the work because it evens out for this person's lifestyle. Whereas equity says, you work the same job, you get the same amount of pay, you get the same time off, regardless. So I think when we think of it that way, and understand the difference between equality versus equity, then we start to understand the argument. It's not always like, modern versus traditional. It's not always, man versus woman. It's an equity issue, regardless of who we're comparing apples to oranges or apples to apples. That's how I feel.
Sorry, I'm on mute. Thank you for that. Thank you. Queen, did you want to say something before I address the comments? Okay. I know sometimes she has to step away. So I'm gonna go back and see. Okay. People are speaking to each other. Okay, so Harris Media Tribe says, great topic, ladies. I think that they can exist together, of course, but the question will become, which one do I practice more? Because we sports people, oh, okay, no, you get better at what you practice. Oh, okay. But I have a question. So it's for ladies, because this is where I struggle a lot with. So if I start being just ultimately feminine, realizing that I have that masculine energy within me, and I only operate in my feminine, am I going to eventually just get so lost in that I'm not going to know how to boss up? And that's, like a better word, when it's time to boss. Like, I struggle with that. Like, and for me, it could be this immaturity in me. It could be this power struggle that I created. I don't know, but I definitely want to get into that. I'm definitely interested in hearing from the Travis Harris tribe. Like, cause y'all always bring some really great commentary to these conversations. So, um, definitely want to say hello to Truth and Purpose. Thank you for joining the chat. He says good evening and love. To the rest of the panel and chat, what's up? So okay. And okay, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make sure. And then Truth says to responding to Harris group, you a male or female? I'm guessing like it's a question of what are you? Like, are you choosing to play a man's role as a female? Or are you gonna be a female? And okay, we're gonna move on because I have some more thoughts, concerning that. But what would you like to say for this answer?
Um, I think I said it. I think we were waiting for Queen.
Yes, I can't hear you, Queen B.
Oh, she'll come right back.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
Queen's back. Your
I was talking to my nurse. So
other question
basically,
again.
and so truth is saying no honest. Well, I don't know what the person is. I get what you're saying, what you're saying. But anywho, so Queen,
yes.
concerning we're shoot, traditional versus modern, equality versus equity. Like let me go back to what Mrs. She said. Okay.
I
Um.
think I read what she said, but
Okay.
um, um, I don't. I feel like as a black woman, I operate in both at all times. So I don't feel like one is stronger than the other. I was listening to um he on some podcast or something, a reel, and the guy was talking about, um how black men say they want black women to be have these characteristics, but those characteristics are of Caucasian women, and how black women tradition, in Africa or whatever, we were queens, we were fighters, we were warriors, like we had both roles. So that's who we are. And he was saying you can't um put uh European or Caucasian or whatever characteristics or roles on black women. And they were saying how black men, he said, because even in their relationships they're failing. So it's not like white women are submitting to white men because they're getting divorced just like we are. So it's not about that. It's about respecting um the fact. I think Lola has said something too, to this aspect, that we're always on defense mode, meaning like we're protectors too. Like we're hunters, we're that's our role too. So I don't think either one is more important. I think you can be both and it's okay. I think it's the level of respect that you give to the person that you're with. I think that's the problem. It's not so much as being tradition and modern or whatever else. It's your level of respect that you have for the person who you're with. And I think that's when those two, you can differentiate. I have a hard time pronouncing that between the two. You know what I mean? Like you can cipher the line, but it's kind of like, I don't know if you. I think it's what, tendons and muscles, and how sometimes they were saying you can't cut them. Like they're woven together so intensely. I think I'm quoting it right, that it's hard to separate them. I think that's the same thing with who we are. we adapt to cultural, we are in a our modern society, but at the same time, there's a lot of tradition that lies within us, and it's up to us to learn the balance and be able to um, project it in a respectful way. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like if I don't agree with you, I ain't gotta say, man, I ain't gotta listen to you. I got money, blah, blah, blah. I could just simply say, you know what? I would like to do this with the money I earned. Or our money, I would like to go. Is it okay if is it in the budget for me to go get my nails done? I don't have to say, I ain't gotta ask you nothing, blah, 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 blah. So it's the same thing, but it's the way I'm communicating it. I'm communicating more respectfully. And I think that's where the problem comes. It's how you say it, not what you say.
And I want to say welcome back to OG Patrice. I want to, since Queen, you brought that up, I want to ask this: do you feel that some men, and men in the comments, please feel free to answer. Um, some men place unrealistic how can I say desires. They don't.
Unrealistic expectations, maybe,
That's it.
or
Yes.
is that what you're trying to say, sis? Okay. Um, yeah, it's possible that some men do that. Matter of fact, it's factual that some men do that because some women are certain ways as well. So, but yeah, of course, I've seen it. Where I think that unrealistic expectations get put on some of my girlfriends, or even when my niece was married and she married young, and when you marry young, I think you tend to miss out on a lot of things. You think because you're in love, that was the right thing to do, and you think you're gonna love that person forever. And at that time, you're right at the time. But when it don't work, and then you realize that you miss out on a lot of things. And I know she said her husband had so many unrealistic things for her, expectations of her, that she just was not able to meet. And at some point, when you put that type of pressure on a person, um, it can definitely be not good for that person mentally or emotionally even. And sometimes that can lead to a separation, which can lead to a divorce. Because I think that when you go in a relationship with unrealistic expectation and you're thinking, oh, I could do it, I could do it, I could do it. Your mind may say you can, your heart may want to, but does not necessarily make it physically or emotionally or mentally so sometimes. And you have to look at whatever your capacity is as a human being to what you can do. And if someone have unrealistic expectations of you, then of course that definitely is not healthy in a relationship. And I've seen both sides of the spectrum when it comes to those things. Like, you know, it never ends well for the most part unless a person allows another person to completely take over their life, completely run them, and they lose all sense of self in that relationship because they're trying to meet the expectations of the high expectations that are unrealistic of their mate. And sometimes that's just not humanly possible to do.
I'm glad you brought that up. We're gonna put a pin in that because that ties into something Queen mentioned on our Tuesday night show. And Truth and Purpose has some interesting comments, and I want to address his. And I would like for him to come up because I want him to express it. I don't want to misconstrue what he's saying, and I definitely have a follow up question. But Queen, you also mentioned something similar to what OG Patrice said when we had the conversation. You talked about how if a woman spends so much time catering to the man, she loses herself, and then she in turn builds up resentment or develops some resentment. Okay. Queen. Okay. Maybe she had to step away again for a minute. Mrs. M3, would you like to respond before we allow our gentleman
Mhm.
guest to respond?
Oh no, let them go ahead. I said my part.
Okay. They're not adamant.
I I was gonna say I think the difference is um making sure the balance. I didn't hear everything, but making sure it's a balance of, taking care of the husband or the children, and and it's a vice versa thing. So it's not so much as just one person. It's like, I know for my parents with 6 kids and 2 dogs. Um so it was what, 8 kids? It was kind of like, hey, I need a break. The older ones were working or doing whatever. Take these little ones somewhere, get them out my hair till camp starts. So my dad would take us on a little trip. My mother would say, "Hey," he'd be like, "Oh, hey, you wanna go with the girls and take them somewhere?" And then she would go. So, and then it was like, "Hey, me and your dad are leaving. Here's some money. Take care of the little ones." So it was a balance. I don't think it was one more than the other. My dad worked at night, my mom worked in the day. So he cooked dinner, he cleaned the house, he did the laundry. So when she got home from work, there was nothing there was nothing for her to do but eat and go to sleep. So, you know, yeah.
So they found a balance in
Yeah.
their
And I don't
relationship.
I don't think it was I don't think it was all, I'm not saying it was all Brady Bunch all day, but for the most part. And then she didn't feel like doing my hair because she was running late for work, which she always ran late for work. My dad would do my hair, and he would cook breakfast and drop her off at work, and come back and be like, "Hey, you guys, I'll walk you to school." And so, you know, it was a balance that worked for them. So,
Okay. All right. So I want to welcome Truth, and he made several comments in the comment section, so y'all can read those. But I would like for him to verbally express his thoughts, and then I have a counter question for him. Welcome to the Queen's Courts on Ladies' Night, Mr. Truth, and so please express yourself.
Good evening, ladies. How are you guys doing today?
We're wonderful. I'm wonderful, thank you.
Hello, Queen.
She might have to
Uh,
step away
so,
for a minute. She's working with us.
oh, but well, everybody knows, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in doing God things God's way. So, um, this
You
is
have
not going to.
5 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, I know. This is not going to apply to everyone. For those who do things differently, they, don't. Those don't believe in God, they might do things a different way. They might see the man and the women as, equal, so on and so forth. I believe in purpose. I believe in having objectives. I believe in roles. I believe in order. So when I was saying down there, it was when you think about woman, the term actually means womb and man. You was taken from the womb, like which means an opening from a man. You were created from that. So you was created out of when God found a desire, a specific need inside of a man. He recognized that and pulled you from him. So that's where your name actually comes from. It comes from what you were created for. And a lot of people get that, like they forget that whole concept. They skip right over that and go into, the way society is now. Oh, my purpose is lawyer, doctor, therapist, psychologist, whole bunch of other different jobs that would not be here if the infrastructure and everything shut down. Half of the people work on the internet and stuff. That stuff shut down. What will you be then? So your purpose is who you are. That's exactly who you are. So when it comes to women, we talk about modern and traditional. I believe in purpose. A woman's purpose is towards her man. She is a helpmeet. She helps him achieve the vision set before him by God, and they work together. God pulled him out, brought him right back, report her right back to him for instructions and what is needed, and also to bring his likeness into this world. We can't have birth without you guys. So that's what that means there.
Okay. My counter question to you is one, do you feel that women are should not be allowed to develop a sense of self as far as having something that is exclusively theirs, a project, a hobby that actually makes them money outside of what she does for the family, or even a career that requires a degree or certification? And do you feel another part of that, part B, is do women always have to be connected to a man like for the entirety of her life in order to uphold God's commandments and God's wishes and desires and instructions? Um, I mean, I would just like to get a little more, hear your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's a question I'm asked very, very often. I don't know how many times. I go by like, okay, it's either you serve God or you don't. And for some reason, America and the world has perverted that a wife and a mother is not a big job. It's not a heavy job. It's not something purposeful and rewarding, and not something considered, valid and of valor. I think wives and mothers are amazing. That's the best gig there is, other than being a husband and a father. And it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job to basically become weakness for another individual. That's what submission is. It's saying, I'm going to be weak so you can be strong. I'm going to basically submit to you and you're going to take care of me. That's what basically submission is. I'm not going to protect myself. You're going to do that. So we get from, if everything shut down, because I only got 1 minute, everybody up here has a job. Everything shut down. I don't know if y'all ever seen Walking Dead. What would you do without a man then? Because money isn't that paper. It don't count no more.
I can't hear you.
That excuse me. So yeah, that paper don't amount to anything. That paper does not amount to anything. What do you do then?
I understand where you're coming from.
No, I'm
How,
saying ask that question. Answer that question
you
first,
mean
and
a
then
degree or certification paper?
money, degree, certification, all the things that we created, that man created, not God. Man created to bring, because basically these things keep you away from your purpose. It's a distraction. Every it's always let's try something else other than God's way. Let's even before you guys were allowed to work, y'all had to depend on a man. Did that make you less valuable then? Did that make
Did,
you no service? Did that make you nothing? No. You were a woman. You provided for your family. You raised good children, not these screwed up niggas that we have out here. You wonder why they so screwed up? Because they don't have no love. They don't have nobody providing for them to teach them how to be nurturing, to be loving, to even be considerate of love, to accept it. It took me a while to accept love. It took me a while to understand what love is and to learn how to give it. But that's because there's no mothers in the actual home to stay with the child so he can grow up properly.
well, can we talk about the aspect of, and of course, I wasn't born before, I was born in the 70s, so I don't know exactly what life was like before then. However, based on articles and movies and discussion with my family members, while a woman was very dutiful, and I know some women in my family were very dutiful. However, their husbands had other women, other children. Um, they were alcoholics. I mean, they were abusive. There were many other things that these men did outside of being the husband. They went to church every Sunday, was the deacon, sang in the choir, was on the usher board. These things I know myself.
Mm-hmm.
And they turn around and Monday through Saturday, they were not an upstanding husband. So my questions though is basically, what is the big deal? I believe in God. I read the Bible. There were many women
But
who
they
had
did work.
other they okay, let's look at the Proverbs 31 woman.
Hello.
She
She
took
bought
what,
land. She earned money.
and yes, she was her husband's right hand person.
I
She
love
brought
when y'all use that. Go ahead, continue.
I'm just saying she took what he
God.
brought and grew it, like expanded on it, and she may be the example of the perfect wife, the most dutiful wife. Like anyway, my
I'm
point
gonna give
is,
I'm gonna give this topic. I'm gonna give this topic 5 more minutes. And
Thank
the truth,
you.
I'm gonna have to drop you down, bro. I'm gonna make a point real quick, and the truth, I'm gonna let you cook, right?
Yeah, she's
Listen.
that. She the one that brought me up. I wouldn't have came, but
No,
because
you
I
good,
wanted
bro.
to
You good.
because I wanted to give him a chance to expand on his.
no,
Eric,
I don't need
cool,
to.
cool.
I don't never need to expand on. You know, I just came up here for you. That's
Yeah.
it.
So 5 more minutes on this topic because I definitely want to move forward. Now listen, I'll say this, right? You know what I mean? You know, my grandfather, you know, he wasn't the most ideal man, or he didn't do everything that everybody should say was right. Yeah, and in fact, he may have had kids outside of his marriage or whatever. But without him, I wouldn't be here. So salute to
Right.
him. Like nobody's perfect. You know what I mean?
That's
I
right.
think sometimes you'll be looking for perfection, and that ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Unfortunately, sometimes things are just gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, like my grandmother wasn't perfect either. Like, she was doing stuff too that was crazy.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people are gonna be people, but it's how you work through it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
the storms of life are gonna hit you. How you gonna work through that? You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and a lot of times, especially if you get married really young, or whatever age you really get married in, like things gonna happen. So, how are you gonna deal with these things? You know what I'm saying? How are you gonna deal with them, and how are you going to basically work through them? I think in relationships we don't want to work through anything. We just want everything just to work out the way it's supposed to work out. And even the Bible says that we all fall short. So something's gonna happen within the time you're with that person. Like
All
it's just life. Like hold on, I want Truth to build, and then definitely QB definitely build. I know he only got a little bit of time. Go ahead, Truth. Truth, you there?
Yes. No. I wanted her to finish her exact
Okay,
question so I
go
could
ahead, QB. My bad. Go ahead.
correctly.
all I was
Do
gonna
that.
say is, again, going back to I mentioned about expectations. Men have expectations of women, but why can't we have expectations of you all as our husband, our provider, our protector? You all want us to follow God's law in accordance to what a husband and wife is supposed to be. Why can't we expect you to be faithful and dutiful to us and loving and caring and take care of our spirit person as well as our physical person?
That's a great question. Uh, Sad to say, I'm the wrong man to ask that question because I follow what I'm supposed to do. I honor the person I'm with. I'm faithful to the person I'm with. I do what I'm instructed by God first and foremost to take care of my family. The word says those who do not take care of his family is less than an infidel.
Mm-hmm.
I honor and take care of what's mine, and especially what holds my last name.
And then when a woman sees that a man is leading her and the family into righteousness and not to hell, then we are more than willing to be submissive and honor him. It's those moments when we're
Queen
doing
B,
all we,
you are.
well, I am,
Yeah.
yes.
See, you see how I made sure I said me because I am not like everyone else. There are men that pervert to say, "Oh yeah, I'm married and I get to cheat on you because I'm paying for everything." There are, and I don't call them. Excuse me, I don't even call them men. I call them males. You feel what I'm saying? So you're a woman, not a female. You would automatically fall in line if a man steps up and leads. There are females that, regardless whether you do that or not, they're going to do what they want to do because that's what they believe in, and they didn't give a dag on. It's either you're going to allow me to do what the hell I want to do, or don't be with me. And they will go and they will be alone because it's not, no man is going to accept that. At the end of the day, a woman is supposed to go according to the man. It's either he the man of the house, he's not. He can't be the man of the house sometimes. What is that? Oh, I'm half man, I'm half masculine for 12 hours, and the other 12 out of 24 hours, you're the man, you're masculine, you're leading us. No, it don't work like that. And again, I don't know why we perverted it to a point that it's bad. A woman that falls under a man, do you know she gets anything out of that man? Anything.
But
So
why
who
can't
loses?
why can't she still have her own thing outside of what she does for her husband in her household? That's my only like. That's my.
Well,
I don't want to be someone's
you'll have
puppet.
to ask God. You'll have to,
That's
you'll
not.
have to ask him where he created, and also, just like any ship, there's a co-captain, but there is also a captain, and everything, everything in life. And I'm gonna get off here so y'all can get it. Everything in life that runs efficiently is in order. A plane has a captain, a co-captain. A ship has a captain and a co-captain. Generals have a general and a lieutenant. Everything follows in a specific order. We have what's called a divine order. God, Jesus, man, woman. You have to ask him why he did it that way. But we are the intercessor. We are the one that steps in the line when it comes to the connection when you are married. I'm not saying when you are single. I'm not talking about girlfriend and boyfriend, that bull crap. I'm talking about when you're married. The man is the man of the household, and the woman is under his covering. And
But
it's,
we're not beneath you though. That's the
Hold
difference.
on, hold on, Queen. Hold on.
let me
True,
finish.
bro. Thank you.
Yeah, just let me finish it up so you can listen now. That's
Yeah. Go ahead.
the woman and the family is under his cover, and they follow his leadership. This is what I believe in. This is how my family runs, and it's going to continue to run. And that's just for me. That's the way it is. And you can find out whether it's the person I'm with. Do they feel like they're being suppressed or they listening? They'll tell you otherwise.
But can't
So,
she have a career or a job of her own?
Yes.
well, right now, because I'm not one of these people in here perverting this 6-figure thing. Like I got it already, but I'm working my way towards that. So I make decent, but right now it ain't where I would tell her to quit her job. Once I get there, oh yes, it's no point in her working. Yep. Then we have an understanding about that. So
Cool.
Okay. Well,
Brother
thank you.
Truth, thank you for coming up, bro.
Congratulations.
already, brother. You guys
Yo,
have a great
I'm gonna holler at you later. You already know.
already, brother. Salute.
All
Blood
right.
in.
Salute, blood in.
Okay, Mr. Intellectual, since you're here, you have
Yeah,
any?
I'm a rock out on that. I'm a rock out on that. My brother Truth set me up. I'm a rock out on that. Listen. All right.
That's not the topic though. We don't want to talk about it no more.
No, I'll make it real quick so we can move on. You
I'm
know what I'm
just
saying?
messing
So
with
y'all can
you.
move on. I don't want, I know you ladies got a curriculum. I'm not gonna take away from what QB got going for y'all.
That's right.
Let me say this, right? At the end of the day, I think I'm gonna tell a story, right? So my other grandfather, right? My mom's dad, you know what I mean? Worked hard. I remember he told me, he said, son, I was working at the meat factory and he was working at the railroad at one time when he first started because he wasn't making enough money to take care of my grandmother, my mother, and my uncle, right? But during this time, he had two younger brothers who lived in the South, right? And somehow they got a hold of his father's gun, right? And they were playing with it, but they didn't know a bullet was in it. So one of the kids shot the other kid by mistake, and that kid wound up dying. You think my grandfather wanted that to happen? He didn't. Things in life happen. So when things in life happen, of course you may develop a drinking habit, which my grandfather did. You know what I mean? You may develop a drug habit. You may develop a habit where you start messing with other women. You may develop different things because you don't know how to handle certain things that go on in life. In life, things happen. It's not that we ask them to happen. Of course, you want to just be with that one person. Of course, you don't want to hurt them. Of course, you want to just want everything to be fine. But you don't see that the person that raised you or the person that you love is just going to die of a disease. You don't see that your health is going to turn because of certain situations. You don't see these things. You don't see them. You know what I mean? And I think when we get in these marriages, we don't figure the marriage is for better or for worse. Okay? So that means you're going to have to go through better times. Mrs. M3 noticed, and you have to go through worse time. Can you stand the rain? That's a real song. It's real. Ain't no BS about that. Can you stand it? Okay. Yes, we wanna live all the vows out. The wedding is great. We having fun. The family is there. Everything cool. Now it really begins. Now the game begins. Can you stand it? You know what I'm saying? And if you can stand it, you definitely need to walk. Cause this shit is hard. All right. You thinking your partner's doing one thing and when something else is happening, and then you feel like you could trust them, and then you're like, but why are they doing this, or why are they talking to this person, or why is this happening over here? Wait, what happened to the money? Damn, we just invested in this. What's going on with this? Like, we're not expecting none of these things to happen to us. We're not. We're not expecting a job loss. We're not expecting a loss of family. We're not expecting any of these things, but they're going to happen. And when they do happen, can you stand it? Can you stand it? And during that time, as you're trying to stand it, you're trying to work through things, you are not going to always do everything right. I hate to tell people that, but I don't hate to tell you that. It's the truth. You ain't going to do everything right. Because life is going to happen. Can you work through the storm? Can you endure the rain? Can you stand the rain? And that's all I got to say.
All right.
What are you talking about? Can you stand the rain? Get out of here with all that. No, stop. No, it's just, the Bible says the basic principle is to love, right? Basic principle is to treat each other the way we want to be treated, right? Do you want to be controlled, dictated to, put under a rock, put in a box? No. So why the hell you think it's okay to do it to me? That's all I'm gonna say on that. You don't want to be treated like that. If God changed the word today and put women in control, do you want to sit at home, have babies, breastfeed, no, you don't want to do it. You got dreams for your life. Nobody's a mindless drone. And that's why I don't get it. I don't understand. Because that's why so many marriages end in divorce. Because people get bitter, resentful. They don't communicate how they feel. They go along with it. And then one day, Sally and Mike go, who the hell are you? I'm done. That's all I'm going to say. We've seen it. We know people this has happened to. We in marriages, we've probably felt it over the years with non-communicating, our uncommunicated or unrealistic expectations of each other. The Bible yes, there's a divine order. The Bible talks about treating each other the way we want to be treated. Do you want to be told, you're not working, you're going to stay at home, you're going to have my babies, I'm going to take care of you? Do you want to be talked to like that? No. So why the hell you think the person you with want to be talked to like that? You might find a woman who's okay with that. But find her 10, 15 years later. She is figuring out her life. It's called, what is it called? Self-discovery. The kids are all gone, You see it so many times. I don't understand it.
But Queen, let me ask you a question,
I never wanted to be. I stayed home. I was laid off for 3 months. I went crazy. I do not want to be, never wanted to be, never was interested in it. I actually would prefer the man be a stay-home daddy. I'll take care, no puns intended. So,
Queen, may I ask you a quick question?
Yes, and then we're moving on. You got 5 minutes.
Quiet. Listen, at the end of the day, let me ask you this question, right, Queen? As you're going through the things that you're going through with your husband, right? You know what I mean? Did you expect a lot of those things to happen? Just on your end, did you expect the things that you had your struggles and the things that you was going through? Did you expect a lot of them to happen?
Certain things, yes. Certain other things, no.
Okay, so I think this is what we got to realize, right? People don't mean to hurt you. You know what I mean?
No,
let me wait. No, I know that's not what you're saying, but I'm just trying to make a point. People don't mean for things to go left. I get what you're saying, Queen, but people don't mean for things to go left. You know what I mean? You think they spend all that money and they do all these things and they get their families together and all that for that wedding and they make all these vows and They leave their homes, and sometimes they leave their jobs, or they leave where they live, or they leave wherever else to now be with this person. You think people do all that thing to sacrifice their time, their money, their body, especially for the women, your bodies because y'all have kids, all these things, right? You think people do all that stuff just for it to go left? No, they don't. Nobody's doing all these things just for it to go left. People want these things to work out, but you know what I'm saying? Like you said, you didn't expect all these things to happen, but they did. You know what I'm saying? So you and your spouse y'all work through it. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes in the moment you're not able to communicate. You're not able to. You gotta process it so you're able to communicate. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I want to say. I guess it was
No,
more of a statement than a question.
I'm talking on the lines of, you know, you ain't working, you want to stay at home, and then you bring up Proverbs 31, and the woman, if this is the woman that we're supposed to be imitating, right? This is what y'all men put on us all day. Proverbs 31 woman. Are you going to be her? You know, but she worked. She bought land and she worked. So yes, I am going to be her. You can't pick and choose what aspects of it that you want to follow. You tell me that I'm doing this and you're going to tell me to quit my job and do this and do that. Okay. I mean, yeah, that sounds all great. But individually, I had dreams and aspirations for my life before I met you. And are you going to be a man who brings that out of me? Or are you going to be a man that caps it and throws it in the ocean? That's not the man for me. I want someone who's going to dream with me and not go, okay, you married to me, I make 8 figures and you done working, you're going to have 12 kids and you're going to stay at home and do this. That's BS. That's not biblical, even in that aspect of it. But anyway, I digress. Our co-stars here. So, Razik, I'm going to get my filters right now. I know you're ready.
I want to say, that's why I think it's important to marry someone, as they say, that is you're equally yoked to, because if you're not having a conversation prior to you getting married or what the expectations in their marriage are, then that's where the problem can lie. Like, if you're not sitting down and you know that this man at some point is going to want you to not work because he's working towards that goal of having, at some point, having you at home as his wife, and to have his children, for and be a mother to the children, then that is a conversation that needs to be had prior to you all moving forward, way before you get married. I think that, like, it's certain expectations, like I said, because I watch my auntie do just that, give her whole heart and soul in a marriage to a man, left her career, had the babies, and knowing deep down inside in her, she had started law school. She wanted to be a judge. That was her dream. Put all of that on hold to be the wife, and she never fulfilled that. And there was a part of her that resented him for that, and that she even felt the way at some point towards her kids for it. But in the end, I told her, you have to blame you for that at the end of the day, because you allowed that and you accepted that at the time. So you can't blame your children, who didn't ask to be here, who came along with the package of you marrying this man and accepting to have the children, putting your career on hold, not ever going back, because he was always, no, I'm making this much money, you don't need to. So if you're not having and they did not have the conversation. But once they got married, he was like, no, I want you to quit your job and start having babies. And she's like, okay. So you go along with the program before you have these conversations. That's why it is so important to know the person that you're going to marry, and know that you guys are like-minded on these things, and that you're totally okay with staying at home, being a wife and being a mother at some point, or else it's going to be like a cancer eating at you, and it is going to be things you're going to resent. And when you resent it, you take it out on the person that you feel was the cause of you to do, of that. And it's unfairly so, because to me, it all lies back on you. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I told y'all, I sat down and my ex-husband and we talked about it because I was touring so much. And he's like, hey, I don't want you to tour so much. And I was like, okay, I will chill down because I am becoming a wife. And I chilled down. I'll say I probably shaved off about half of my touring. But he did not tell me to completely don't tour anymore, because he knew that was my livelihood, that was my life before I met him. Now, we would have had a problem if he would have said, you got to quit performing. You can't do no more tours. Like you can't go here. You can't, like, we'd have had a problem. But because we had that conversation, and then again, that's when the compromise comes in. Because once I stopped touring less, then he ended up making more money than me. So it was times when the roles reversed, and it was cool. I was totally okay with making the decision that I made, because I was a new wife and I wanted my marriage to. I never regretted it. Still don't regret it to this day. So when you talk about those things, if you're not having the conversation prior to, it can be a big problem once you get in the marriage. And now you're there. And what are you going to do?
I think I hear you, Auntie Oji Patrice. I think Mr. Best's point, and he knows this very well, the sickness and health part of marriage. You don't always expect things. And even though, especially if you get married young, you know who you are at that time, you know what you want. Say that man doesn't get the job of his dreams, and the woman that he wanted to be home and take care of the kids is the breadwinner. He may resent her. He may dislike the fact that everything they dreamed and planned out hasn't worked to his benefit, or hasn't worked the way that they envisioned it to. And now they're living this marriage, this life that they didn't plan for. And the roles are reversed in some ways. And that goes back to Miss Hubie's point of, is it possible for that woman who dreamed traditionally, who expected and accepted traditional role, now to coexist in the body of the modern woman? Because now she's not at home taking care of the kids. She's not home in time to cook dinner. Now she's not home in time to take them to school, because she has to work. She has to be the one doing the things that they had planned for him to be the one doing. I think that was the point that he was making, and that, the stream boss lady traditional meets modern. Is it possible for that to happen and the family still thrive? Or will resentment be the order of the day when the roles may be reversed? And in some cases, the roles aren't reversed. They're both breadwinners. And who's home taking care of the kids? The nanny or the daycare. Kids are at school, even in any given, if they're public schooled, 8 hours out of the day, they see their parents when it's time for dinner or go to sleep, or they might see them for 5 minutes before they close their eyes and go to bed to get ready for school the next day. I think that was the point of the topic. I'm sure.
Yeah, I get that. I just want to say it's always worth having the conversations prior to the marriage. So you're going in with a complete understanding of what the expectations are of your mate, of each other, just in general. That's all. I was just basically, that's where I was trying to land the plane. So if it got a little bit misconstrued, that was not my intention. But I think a lot of times, because we this is basically how I go. We fall in love, we get married, we plan to marry, we get married, and then we start our life, and then we don't think about all the other things that's going to come into play. the expectations of each other. And without having the conversation first, that's where, you can avoid a lot of things. That's all I was saying. So I'm gonna land that plane and I'm gonna digress. I'm gonna let y'all rock.
Well, thank you. Thank you all. So, want to first welcome Sophia to the panel. Thank you,
Good
sister,
evening to everybody.
for joining us.
Hey,
Rosita
Evening,
is
Sophia.
Sophia.
um.
Hey, 84.
So, if
I,
you
I
don't
just
mind,
want to say everybody's not blessed like Mr. and Mrs. M3. We all, when we marry, we have a dream we put in our head to do this and that. And I'm speaking, saying from the way that I was raised is completely different from a lot of people. And even still, one thing that I realized about me is that the way that I was raised is gonna be in, I'm gonna always be in a little box. And in my 50s or whatever, I really wish I could change. It's just that I have to meet the right person. Mr. and Mrs. M3 were the right people at the right time. God made their, He tuned their antenna in, and everybody's not going to get that. I've been married before. So to say, I want to be married, I want to be married, I want to be married, that's a hard thing. If you're not disciplined to be married, then that's not for you. If you're not going to be, well, first of all, we can't be Mr. and Mrs. M3. I would always look up to them. I don't care how much younger they are. They have something that's a gift from God. Everybody don't deserve that gift, and I understand that. You have to meet the right person in order to do that, but you can't want the right gift with the wrong person. That's not going to ever work. And we have to realize and look back. And I have some friends, M3 and 84, who told me to just step back and look at things. And I'm currently doing that now. That I wanted to be the right person, but the person who I was with didn't want the same things that I wanted. And I had to respect that. And it tore me apart. The person who I'm calling my Lord and doing this the way my dad raised me to be, that guy ended up being married. So sometimes we want things and we will be pulled away because that's not what God wants. So you have to look at everything. You have to look at the picture. You have to know that person. And we have to understand that sometimes that person will keep everything hidden until it just can't be hidden. And that's when God steps in and say, you know what, baby, I love you. This ain't going to work. It's just not going to work. You can look at Mr. and Mrs. M3 and want that until the sky turned purple, yellow, pink, and green. That's not going to happen either. Be you and find somebody who's going to be there for you. So I had to learn and respect that, to look at people and to analyze. There's a lot of things that I'm going through still as we speak. Coming up, since I started to have an anxiety attack. And I was like, no, 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 Sophia, these are your friends. And I understand there are a lot of people who say, well, my YouTube friends, and then there are people who say, well, no, that's just YouTube only. No, there are people here who are caring enough who would genuinely be your friend. But I had to understand that Sophia is Sophia and Queen and QB and 84 and Mrs. M3 and Razik and saying QB. Everybody is their self. I have to learn and respect and love myself to understand that there's only one of you all. On my best day, I could never be you all, but I can still learn. So even in my, saying 50s and everything, it's wonderful that I can still learn. And I have to understand, and I am understanding that everybody is not for everybody. And saying praise God that He pulls me out of bad situations. Nobody wants to hurt, but sometimes we just have to get hurt in order to move forward.
The goal is progress, right? It's not perfection. We're never going to reach
Exactly.
perfection, but we can always make progress day by day. Our own self being able to look at the things that we don't like about ourselves and change it. You take any 8 weeks out of any year, 2 months is all it takes. You don't like something about yourself, you could change it. 8 weeks is all it takes. Make a habit out of your practice. And whatever it is that you dislike, change it. You don't want that in your character, change it. Why? Because if you like yourself, you're always going to see production. And productivity makes people happy. You're productive, you're happier. And there's studies that prove that.
All right, thank you. So I want to acknowledge some people in the comments. I'm not ignoring y'all. We've just been having a really great conversation. And Razik, it is going to be your turn. Marcus, what's up? You can't fool pops. Hello. Let's see. Wally, okay. Marcus and Miss Sophia's joined us, and then Daryl, how you doing? DJ Eddie King, hello everyone. I'm finally at home. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so and then I'll come back to your comments. Truth, but Razik has been very patient, and I appreciate you for respecting the ladies. And I'm gonna let you go. We're gonna let you loose. And again, everybody, everything is said is that the views of the person speaking, not of knowledge and relationships. Be kind, be respectful. Go, Razik.
Alright, how's my audio? How's my audio?
You're good.
Good, good. Hey, look, I hope everybody enjoyed the view. I tried to listen in a little bit for what I could, ever. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here somewhere in Oregon near a major rainforest. I hope everybody enjoyed the view for the little bit that I did show. But anyway, going back to the topic, and I'm always a huge advocate of um, everything that I have said, in the past, and I stand on everything that I've always said. And you know, and again, I know, you know what I'm saying, the women ain't gonna like it, but you belong to us. You know what I'm saying? You belong to, you know what I'm saying, men. You know what I mean? And for the women who understand that, those are the women who are going to win. Because we ultimately, as men, you know what I'm saying, and I'm gonna just use myself, right? For, you know, just a general talking point. When I look at the woman, I value her body. You know what I'm saying? I value what it is for a for what I can utilize of her. You know what I'm saying? As far as like being in the confines of a marriage, and what I can use you for to benefit the family, as far as what my goal is. So by me being the head, like you know what I'm saying, and me and Q have gone back and forth on this issue. I am the captain. You are the flight attendant. You are to attend. And I mean, regardless of if you don't like it, that is your duty. That is your duty. You know what I'm saying? And again, for you know what I'm saying, the women that understand that, those are the women that I particularly look for. Those are only the women that I have interest for. All these other chicks, and a queen, you want to cover up your ears, but and I'm not being disrespectful when I say this, but I mean this, right? There's a difference between women who are wives versus the women who are bitches, versus the women who are sluts, versus the women who are strippers, versus the women who are OnlyFans, versus the women who are on IG tricking off, trying to, sucker punch men and grab their money, etc., etc. There is a difference. We as men slot all of you women in different categories based upon how you carry yourself, your modesty, how you present yourself, and all of these characteristics range from natural hair, natural nails, no extravagant eyelashes, and all of this rainbow color hair. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like it, I don't mean to be offensive, but hey, as they say, the truth hurts. And and unfortunately, the older women get from the age that they are now, you're going to realize that your youth, meaning in your 20s, early on, are your best chances for getting married, if that is what you ultimately want, and to stay in that marriage. Men, you know what I'm saying? Like, we as men, we don't think about getting married, in the sense like, yo, I'm going to have a divorce. So when I say that I'm going to get married, I know that I'm going to stay married forever. There is no divorce. There is no negotiation out of this, ever, ever. You know what I'm saying? Which is why in the vows, when they say together do us part, that's exactly what that means. We are going to grow old together, straight up. You know what I mean? Through whatever sickness, health, whatever may, happen. Yeah. So I'm never going to negotiate on this. And for you, I'm saying, the women who don't agree, you're not the woman who you're not the woman that I'm interested in. Ever, ever. I only need one of you. I don't need the whole world. Like Drake and Lil Wayne used to say, I wish I could fuck every girl in the world. I'm not trying to fuck all of y'all. I don't need to. I got enough dick for one of you. I can't entertain all of you. And I'm not going to even try. You know what I'm saying? Some guys do it, some play, cool. I'm not him. So I'm hoping so ultimately my whole standing point is that to offer some valuable insight that your duty is to your man, whoever he is. And I'm sorry if the wind is too much. Windy as shit out here. But I'm just saying it to you, to actually help. And I just hope that, for those women who are interested in getting, married, that you take heed and value, and value your body. You know what I'm saying? Value your womb. Stop having children, and giving a man the highest honor, and going through all those 9 months of labor pain for a man that you don't even uh, respect. So I'm gonna just leave it at that, because I know my audio is kind of probably messing up, 'cause it is windy out here. So I'm gonna let somebody else add on. If I can add some other insight, then I will. But
I have a
that's all.
question for you and for Truth. I hear what you all said, and I respect your opinions and your preference for your wife. I respect that. But the one thing I haven't heard you all mention is a woman having intelligence, whether she's college educated or not, just having intelligence, like can actually hold a conversation, and she's not some mindless drone, as Queen mentioned. She can add 2 plus 2. She can figure out, okay, well, if I don't have flour, what else can I substitute to make whatever dish? If I don't have milk, what else can I do? Like, women have to be so calculated and emotionally and intelligent in all aspects of her life. So you may get that woman who looks good, but do you not want her to know how to cook and clean, and how to substitute, how to make choices
Let me answer
without.
that, Queen. Let me answer that. Let me
Go ahead.
answer that. Like I've said before, you need to, look for the elder women to school you on those things. And I'm gonna just say this right. For you know what I'm saying, women who keep saying, well, I'm a boss and all of this, and I know how to, I don't need no man. Look, yo. You know what I'm saying? The elder women are the ones responsible for teaching you from a female's point of view what you need to do to better acquiesce to the man that you value and respect in a long term relationship. A man
Oh,
a man cannot do that. Don't expect me to sit here and for a better word, show you how to gush or use a tampon. I don't know anything on that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This is why you have elder women. This is how it's always worked. You need to have enough respect and admiration for the elder you women that personally know, and use them for, what I'm saying, guidance. You know what I'm saying? If marriage is what you want, there is a blueprint to all of this. It doesn't waver on feelings. You can feel however you want, but I'm telling you, your feelings are not, are not valid. Are not valid because you will be happy in 5 minutes. You will be upset the next 5 minutes. You will be excited the next 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So, feelings sway just like the wind. They are not quantifiable in any sense. I'm not moving aside away from your feelings. However, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you what I'm telling you in the best interest. In the best interest. Because look, let me just say this, right? If women keep talking the way that they're talking, and we see that that's not working, don't you think that it's time to try something else? I mean, like honestly, when you hear all these women talking about, well, I feel you make me feel like this, instead of understanding, what I'm saying, context, which is why I'm a huge advocate of why context is everything. Context, context. Learn that word, please, to all the, what I'm saying, the other ladies, anybody who is watching this, learn context. Pay attention to what a man says, not how he makes you feel. There is a difference. Because, what I'm saying, typically when a man tells you something makes you feel uneasy, that's the motherfucking truth. Excuse my your language. That is the truth. Men are not just monsters. We're not walking around here telling you bad advice, what I'm saying, so you can be whores and on the stripper pole so we can have fun with you. We want you as our wife. It is the highest honor. It is the highest obtainable honor. Just like from a man's standpoint, becoming a husband is the highest obtainable honor. Women need to have dignity in moving as such. Your modesty is your power, not you showing your ass and titties on Instagram and twerking and acting like a childish thought. You know what I'm saying? Because when you act as such, you're going to attract the attention that you ultimately don't want. You don't want that. You don't want dudes going up to you, catcalling, and saying, "Hey, shorty, how that ass is? What that mouth do? When you gonna suck my dick?" And all this little, what I mean, asinine shit. You don't like men to talk to you like that. So I'm telling you, I'm saying, the women, stop moving like that. Stop. Like, please, I beg of you, stop. So that's all I have to say. I hope I was able to answer. Q, my fault.
Mr. Razik, if it's okay for me to say, believe it or not, I learned a lot from my dad. If a person, whether male or female, chooses not to teach or they just don't want to do whatever it is somebody want them to do, they won't do it. There are a lot of cooking and stuff like that that I learned from my dad, who also showed my daughters, saying different things, different herbs, different scents, and everything, and they admired it. My mother wasn't the nicest person, and she made it when my dad wasn't around. She made it evident that who she liked and who she didn't. There are a lot of church women now who they wear their clothes tighter than the younger women, from 20 to 30. They're wearing, saying things or whatever, saying that's like that. So a lot of times a woman isn't the best. If she wants to be there, then they'll know to come to her. But sometimes, what I'm saying, and it's not that I'm pro man or pro woman. I'm just saying that there's good people and there's bad people. And that's all I'm saying on that. Other than that, my father was it's a Nation of Islam. When I got a job and everything, my my ex-husband, I remember him telling, my dad that, so I was working, and it was like, well, that's her problem. She still better cook and do all this and that, which for us in the beginning, I had to. Once you become, if you call yourself husband and wife, the way that I was raised is okay, well, then all of your business is your business. And there wasn't any, Mama, can you keep them? I'm be gone for a couple of hours. Can we do this? We had to figure out how to take care of being a parent and husband and wife. And Mama and Daddy didn't step in because they was like, we didn't step in when y'all decided to get married. We didn't step in when y'all chose to have a child. And with us, I had my daughter first. And then when she was like 5 months, me and her dad married. So we put the cart way before the horse. And, saying you have to do things, but there's no books, there's no pamphlet. Sometimes you just have to, saying try and hope for the best and everything. But I rock with some of your conversation, Mr. Razik. I really do, so like it, and everybody's opinion matters because that's what give us a way to open our minds. So don't ever think that we're going to get offended. We will open our minds by you talking and being you. So praises and shout out to you for that.
Um, I want to say this, and then I want to read some more comments. Um, Razik, one of the reasons that I think I really fight against a lot that you say, one, we were raised different, different life experiences. I mean, I'm sure everybody on this panel has had different life experiences. I don't know what it's like to have a positive male influence in my life, going all the way back to my father, my uncles, my male cousins that were older than me. So my view, yes, is skewed. And while I did get married, it was already like I went into the marriage wanting to be a wife. Still don't feel like I know I wasn't the perfect wife. My ex-husband is not to blame for all the problems we had. However, he just still didn't show me again what a man, a husband, a protector, provider. Like he paid the bills, yes, but not to get too deep into stuff. I've already shared this, and I've shared it many times on my podcast. There were just aspects of our marriage that were lacking, and so eventually I began to shut down because I felt like I prayed and prayed, and God wasn't answering my prayers. And I'm like, okay, why am I putting my all into this, and He's not putting His anything into this? But anyway, that's my story. We're not gonna get too deep into that anymore. So at this point in my life, yes, I'm focusing on me. Again, as I mentioned before, I have health conditions that have unfortunately taken me out of the game. And to some part I'm okay with that. When God says it's time for me to meet that man who I'm equally yoked with, who's going to love and protect me, then I would know when that time is. And that's my belief, my faith, not anybody else's. So I'm not trying to put my beliefs off on anybody. Those are strictly mine. I want to read some of Truth's comments. Um, okay, he said, Truth is never favored. He said, salute to you, sis Sophia. Salute to your dad. It's amazing to see a big difference with a woman who has a dad and a little girl. There is a gulf. Hashtag amazing. No greater, no greater gig than husband, dad, wife, mom. That's what builds civilization, not what man created. Then he was saying facts to Razik for the different things he was saying. There's a big difference between education, book smart, a person obtaining man-made paper that gives you validation versus intellect, wisdom. Read Proverbs. I want Mrs. Wisdom, not some who feels they are smart. Okay. M3 says exactly rising, but most are afraid of getting their butts beat by a younger woman. I'm guessing going back to the discussion about older women supposed to teach younger women. Until that, some young women just don't have access to older women. Older women are jealous and catty and petty, and they don't want to teach the young women. There's a lot of factors in there. Anywho, Truth says, who do you all talk to on here? I would never be with someone who isn't got it down packed, and a woman of God has it all. Okay. He also says, I know what a true daughter of Sarah, a sister of Ruth, is. Proverbs 31 and Titus raise women. All right. There's a difference between wife and woman that wants to be a wife after the altar. Then he says, hashtag authentic men. To Razik, something said, hello to SO Hopeful. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Um, Thank you. And then Truth says to Mrs. M3, you're a wise woman. I think that's you. Yeah, wise woman, Mrs. M3. Okay. Making sure I didn't. I just said, I'm Miss Sophia. Every male should get that type of submission until they are submitted to God. Um, Different strokes for different folks. Oh, there's Big Rick Slams. He says, also, I'm all for compromise. Last time I said that I got beat up. Okay, Big Rigs. Um, And then Truth mentioned something going back to something Queen mentioned. It's not resentment always. It's not resentment always. He has pride of himself, and as a man, it is not cool for a man to have to take care of everything.
What?
Um,
Anyway.
um, Truth also says, "What's wrong with that? I can't speak for the color purple men.
Hmm?
Inward. I'm only truth, and I honor my whiz. I guess my wisdom, and so my prayers won't be hindered." Um, He said, why every time a woman is taken care of, she is a robot? So if she's being taken care of and pleased in every way and get to take care of herself, exercise and relax and be treated as a queen. Hmm.
Hmm?
Basically,
Anyway, it's
probably going
okay.
back to
You,
something
I
I
know
said.
you ain't gotta elaborate. It's cool. Don't. I ain't tripping.
Um,
I just know the older women that I know that did that. They refound themselves and they were resentful. Some got divorced, and so yeah, I'm not speaking on everybody. All I'm saying is that if you met me, I had a career, then you want me to shut down and become a robot and follow you. I still have dreams and aspirations for my life, just like you do. It don't make me less of a woman of God or less of a woman if I got dreams and aspirations for my life, just like you do. So I got to stop dreaming because I'm married. That's stupid. But I digress. To each its own.
okay. I want to say hello to Realistic Vibes. Hope she's still watching. Um, Another one of my podcast friends. Thank you for joining us. All right. Alrighty. Let's go back. Hello to Sugar Bum. Thank you for joining. They say, big facts. I have a life too. Oh, oh, that was for me. Yeah, because I mentioned something about being a robot. So yeah, and again, it goes back to my life experience, and I'm the type of person. I never liked to work jobs where I had to wear a uniform because I didn't like to be boxed in. Like maybe that's just me being rebellious and ignorant or immature, whatever. Y'all can say what you want. I own my flaws. I own them. That's it on that. So, Mrs.
Can I,
M3, Sophia. Oh,
oh
okay. Go ahead, Mister.
man, okay, thank you, Phoebe, thank you. I'll say this, right? I think freedom freedom is a duality, right? It's a good and a bad, right? So I think that because you know what I'm saying, we have freedom now. It's freedom has exposed certain things, right? So that's why I say we need to destroy and rebuild. Like, cause now, like, now that women are able to compete with men on an equal level as far as finances and everything else, it changes everything. So we can't go back to kind of a lot of tradition that, maybe I like, or maybe Razik likes, or maybe Truth like. We can't go back because it's freedom, right? Freedom has changed that. So now a woman can say, I don't need you. I don't have to have a baby by you. And she can truly do that. And there's nothing we can do to stop her, right? Like, there's nothing to prevent her now from making her own choices. So, you know what I mean? I think that's a good and a bad, because there are some brothers who ain't doing the right thing, who women need to get away from, right? They don't need to be around them. They don't need to be near them. None of that, right? That's one. Two, there's also, you know what I mean? It's also where, women don't respect, men, you know what I mean? And they just feel like they can just basically say whatever they want to a man. They ain't gonna try to fight a man or try to do different things to a man and try to ostracize who men are. You know what I mean? So yes, I'm all for the women having a voice, having a say. That's why I thought about Ladies' Night, right? And having it on our network, because I wanted the women to have a voice. You know what I mean? So I want those women to have a voice. The thing is that in your voice, right? Don't cut down who we are as men. That's all I'm saying, right? Y'all can have a voice. Y'all can have careers. You know what I mean? Hell, you can go to the moon if you like. I ain't tripping off none of that, sisters. Do your thing. You know what I mean? My mom was a single mom. She did it, and she did a wonderful job. You know what I mean? She did the best she could, and I honor her for that. You know what I mean? I'll always be there for my mom, no matter what. You know what I mean? Queen know that. But at the end of the day, like, I think as men, we just asking that y'all don't take away us being men. Like, allow us to still be a man. Allow us to still do things the way that we want to do them. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like, don't try to make it seem like we not important or that we trash or anything like that. You know what I mean? Sugar Bum, you got one warning. Don't start. You know what I mean? So I don't do that troll stuff somewhere else. You know where to go. Now, with that being said, um, like, we're not asking we're not asking for y'all to not be who you are at your best. Cause when y'all at your best, we at our best, right? Like, I can't be my best if my spouse ain't at her best. You know what I mean? And vice versa. So we need each other. It's a duality. You know what I mean? I'm nothing without her. She's nothing without me. You know what I mean? And we complete each other. So it's a reason I say power couples is two power structures meeting and forming. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I know you just asked a question, but I know how you get. So keep it cool. You know what I mean?
I have a question for you,
Oh,
84.
yeah, sure. So yeah, I want a woman to have her own business.
Okay.
I want her to inspire women. I want her to um do things that set the mold and set the trend and change society, right? For the better. But I don't want her to take away from who I am as a man. I think that's all men are asking. We're not asking y'all to not be yourselves. We're not asking y'all to not fulfill a career dream. We're not asking for none of that. We're just saying, and you fulfilling your purpose and you doing your passion, still acknowledge me as your man. You know what I mean? Still acknowledge me as the head of the household. Still acknowledge me in those certain aspects. You know what I'm saying? And then I also acknowledge you as my woman, and I also acknowledge you as a queen and as a wife and as a mother and all that. I'll also acknowledge you in that. That's all we asking for. It's
But
not really hard.
that's not all men though. That's not what all
I know
men
that's not all
say.
men. That's not. I know
Okay.
that's not all men.
Okay.
I'm speaking for me and men like
Okay.
me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So if you on that vibe, you in my tribe. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And all women want is for a man to not have us looking stupid out here in these streets. We rocking and rolling hard for our man, and we're boosting you up and talking you up, praising you, not like you're a god, but
Hmm.
then someone comes to you and be like, show you something where your man got you out here looking stupid because
Well,
you
Yeah,
look,
rocking and rolling for him.
I'm gonna say this. God gave me a brain.
mm,
He gave me creativity,
mm,
not for it to be dumbed down and put in a box for no man. I don't care how much money
Yeah.
you make. I don't
Queen,
care
but
how
that's
powerful you are.
yeah, that's not yeah, but yeah,
I
like
know that's not what you're saying, but there
no,
are some
I
people who
know.
feel like when you get together with someone, my life and my dreams stop
Nah, it
when we
don't.
unite, and now I'm walking down your road. That's not cool. It's called two become one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not two to become you. It's two of us. We become one. We. It's not you. It's not
Let me
I. It's we. And that's the problem I
let
have.
me make one last statement, Queen.
I don't
Let me
agree.
Yeah,
I
let me
don't
make one last
agree.
statement.
yeah,
Let me make one last statement. Hold on, brothers. Let me make one last statement, right?
do it.
Yes, Queen, you are right. It is two becoming one because at the end of the day, and here's the thing, right? This is the thing, right? This is what we got to figure. This is what we both got to see. I may have a vision as a man, right? And I may want certain things to happen, but sometimes my vision might be off. And you may say, "Hey, honey, yo, did you ever think about this? Did you ever think about that?" And I'm like, "Oh snap, I didn't think about that." And you as my helper and as my partner, you help me to basically get my thing started. You can have a dream, right? I want to do this. I'm like, word. I do my research, honey. Did you think about that? You think about that? Dang, I didn't even think about that. You see? And we help each other. You know what I'm saying? So we helping each other. I'm helping you fulfill your thing. You help me fulfill my thing. I don't feel away. You don't feel away. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe sometimes the dream that I may have or the dream that you may have, it ain't gonna work, right? And we gotta have that honest conversation. Look, babe, I know you want to do this, but I don't think this is gonna work, and these are the reasons why. Now, I still may choose to fulfill that dream, right? I still may say, you know what? I still want to go after this. Cool, go after it. You have the freedom to do that. You still may want to, and I'd be like, I don't think it's gonna work, but you really want to do that with such and such, Queen? You know what I'm talking about. You still want to make this dream happen with a certain person? Go for it. But I'm telling you, I don't think it's gonna
It
work.
ain't gonna work out.
You know what I'm saying? But
You
people
was
have to.
right.
I was right in that end, right? But there's times where at times you as a family member has told me things, and I was like, dang, like Queen was right on that end. You know what I'm saying?
But you
So,
know what? Hey, 84, you was right
like,
and you was
like
wrong
yeah,
because it
I
turned
was.
out for my better. But
No, it
you
did, it
know,
did, it 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 did. But here's the thing, right? And this is the last thing I want to say. Yes, QB, yes, nobody wants to look foolish, but I think in a long-term relationship, at times you are sometimes gonna make each other not look in the best light because you're human. You don't always make yourself look in the best light all the time. You know what I mean? So I think here's the thing, right? I think when we get in relationships, we expect the person to do more than what we can naturally really do for ourselves. You don't always smell. We don't always smell good, right? We don't always look good. We don't always do the best at our jobs. We don't always know everything. We don't always feel. We don't always make the right decisions. We don't always tell the truth. Like, let's stop the bullshit and the cat. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not directing that towards you, QB, but I'm just saying overall. You know what I mean? We want somebody to be something for us that we can't even be all these things for ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, we just can't. You know what I mean? And if we really honest with ourselves, and I've had to do that, I'm like, damn, I want my spouse to do all this. They had to look at me. I'm like, shit, I ain't able to do all that for me. I still got to work on some stuff. I still got to work out more. I still got to drink more water. I still got to do this and do that. I still got to learn different crafts. I can't even do all the things I'm asking her to do. But I expect her to do all that. And it's the same for women. Y'all expect the men to do all these things, but y'all can't do all that for yourself either. It's the American in us to want more than what we can really actually fulfill or desire. Real quick, I just want to give a shout out real quick to High Value Nurse. Good to see you, bro. Shout out to him, and definitely subscribe to his channel. QB, I don't know where you want to take us, but who you want to speak next? But I'm done.
Just want to acknowledge some comments right quick.
I do want to add too, if I can. Go ahead, Keep going.
Uh, so Sugar Bum basically said, I just act. So basically, censor what we say when you mentioned about. I think it was concerning women can have a voice, but I guess don't put y'all down. I think that's what you something to that effect in Mr. Best. Um,
Basically, yeah.
okay, and so she also Sugar Mom also says she's speaking facts and gives it to Queen. I want my man to be happy for me and what I got going on too. It can't be one sided. So and definitely shout out to the High Value Nurse. So okay. Razik, before you speak, I want to give my ladies a chance to respond. Mrs. M3 or Sophia, would you like to have anything to say?
I'm just learning. I'm listening. I'm absorbing all of it. Um, it's just it's nice to saying be nice, and sometimes saying words hurt people and everything. So that's why I try to listen more and to put myself into that person's shoes and see how they personally feel about it, because everybody is saying different. Everybody don't rock the same way. Every older woman isn't nice. Every man, because he's a man, is the smartest person. So saying I hear everybody and I'm just absorbing, because there's sometimes when I act a certain way, but I'm not an ugly, meaning attitude person. There are some things that people have, and I appreciate, saying, QB, saying you letting everybody know in the beginning, these are that person's opinion. I'm in my 50s. For some reason, there are a lot of 30-year-olds that don't think that I look like I'm in my 50s. And I'm like, you haven't seen me, saying without makeup or without moisturizer or something like that and everything. But, so I track a different thing. There's, saying there's somebody for everybody. The thing of it is if you settle up for who you have, don't get mad at the rest of the world. We still gonna rock and roll, but don't get mad when you choose the wrong person. Invest in you and love yourself.
Alrighty, thank you. Mrs. M3, you hope you're not about to burst at the seams. What would you like to add?
No, I've enjoyed everything that everyone is sharing and their perspectives. I think it's pretty good. I mean, pretty much we're staying on topic with, just basically understanding from both sides, the male and female perspective on relationships, and how men see ladies and what they prefer from their wife, right? When they do get married. And those that are married, explaining, the parts of them that help them to connect with their spouse and acknowledge their spouse. I think those are really valid things that were shared so far. And so I'm just enjoying listening to what everyone is sharing and everyone's input. Do we have a new question, Miss QB?
Well, Razik wanted to respond to what's been said, so I want to give him the time.
Yeah, I just wanted to say or ask, have any of y'all heard of a man by the name of Jim Rome, white
What,
guy? Okay, so
what's his last name?
Rome, Rhome.
Oh, Jim Ron, financial guy,
Yeah,
the guy that
yeah.
started Herbalife, or
Mm-hmm.
helped it get off the ground really good.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He's the man who mentored Tony Robbins. And I brought him up because he had a famous speech where he said he was like he was like he was like, people always talk about this is ri- risky. So he was like learning about money is iffy, and learning about trying to start a business, you know or learning a new skill. And then he said, let me tell you how risky life is. You're never going to make it out alive. So I'm gonna just let that for everybody sit. You know what I'm saying? You're never going to make it out alive. So even in the Quran, there's a famous verse that says every soul shall taste death. Everybody, right? So I lead I lead with that saying that women can is even Queen, and I highly disagree. You know what I'm saying? So when she says, "Well, so we're just supposed to dumb ourselves down," those are ambiguous talking points, and they have no meaning. They're not substantial in any way. Men don't say to dumb yourself down. How is that even possible when you are a female? You are a female. You are inherently weaker comparative to men. You are the weaker sex. It doesn't mean that you can't do things, or you can't be a firefighter, or you can't be a policeman, or you can't be an astronaut, you can't be an oceanographer, you can't be a scientist. For over 40 to 50 years, you've seen women in all different types of, expansions of career fields. Am I lying? So I say that to say that, you know, I don't like it when those talking points, particularly from Queen, because I hear those talking points from other younger women, particularly who have had children out of wedlock, all of a sudden wanting these astronomical standards, thinking that men are going to stoop down to whatever it is that you want. Men are never going to do that. So at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the result. The result is the only thing that matters. So whatever it is that, said female wants, you're going to have to abide by certain guidelines to get it. The same way men have to abide by certain guidelines to get what we want. It's all static. If I don't work, I have no right to talk about the type of woman I want, and she needs to do what I say, and I'm a bum on the motherfucking street. She will never listen to me, and she shouldn't have to, because I didn't put in the work to get where I'm at, to earn what I got. Women keep talking about, well, you gotta, I deserve respect. No, you don't. You earn respect. You earn what you get. Don't like the results? Change how you move. It's that simple. Or live with the consequences of your choices. I have no sympathy, unfortunately, for women who move in a opposite direction, thinking that they're going to get the results, such as, Mrs. M3, or even Queen, because both of those women are married. So for any other female listening, just like Sour Plum, because me and her have been going back and forth. I've seen her, her comments on other panels talking about, I like men to simp for me, I abuse men, I use men, and all this, you know, like men see right through you, you know, and there's thousands of women who think just like her, and they're going to be left out in the cold. When Kevin Samuels, before he passed, when he said winter is coming, he didn't mean it like in the next 6 months, or maybe even in the next, 6 years, 16 years. But for every one of you women who are not married and under the provision of a man and understanding what you need to provide to him in order for him to give you what you need as a result, which is guidance, protection, and provision. That is the way the world works. That is the way it has always worked. That is the way it will forever work. There is no negotiation here. Either abide by the rules or don't, and live with the consequences. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that matters is the result at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? The conversations are good. I think that they're being held in good faith. I appreciate them. I appreciate, the women's input, but, to to substantiate it. That's just all that matters. That's all that matters is the result. You know what I mean? And consequences have actions. The choices have, a set standard on whether or not are they going to go right or are they going to go left. Life is a marathon. It is a chess game. You need to be calculated in your movements, and particularly for your women. You know what I mean? You need to be well aware of the standards of what the man that you want, what does he want from you? That's the question you ladies need to start asking yourself. The man that you want, what does he want from you? And are you going to give it to him? Because that's the only way you're going to win. That's the only way you're going to get his last name. That's the only way you're going to have or attach yourself to a man's legacy. And ultimately, it's yours. You're the recipient.
May I say something,
hold on one second. You women are the recipient of a man's work. You are the receiver. We give to you. We pour it into you. I'm done. Go ahead.
All right, QB, you I think today was the second time that you shared a couple of your experiences, and I'm glad that you were honest about the fact that this is your experience. This is, your experiences with men, so I can understand your reasoning for how you look at something. You feel what I'm saying? And 84 has said this about a couple of weeks ago. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, that people have a problem. So many people on here, we take our own experiences and our own traumas and what we go through, and we bring it on here, and then we try to lay it at the feet of other people. That's not everyone's lives. He said it profoundly. He said, we are not the same. The way you was brought up is not how I was brought up. The things I've experienced, you haven't experienced. So we're not the same. So how you would view, and Razik said the same, said something just now. He said the man that you want, he might be okay with, and he might view life the way you like. That's why it's best that you be equally yoked, mentally, physically, spiritually, in all aspects. Y'all need to have the same vision, because Amos 3:3 says, how can two walk together unless they agree? The answer is you can't. So y'all need to come to an agreement on how you're supposed to go. The marriage I want, and the marriage that I have, and I'm going to continue to work towards, I've seen it. I've seen it work. I've seen my brothers' wives happy, healthy, loving the fact that they don't have to work, the stresses of life, loving the fact that all they have to do is be themselves and love their children and love their husband. They don't have to go out here and battle the world. They don't have to worry about other people's attitudes. They're bringing their problems to work, so on and so forth. That's them, and then that's how I look at it, and I view, how a marriage is supposed to be. My brother, he goes to work, he takes care of his family, and they are happy. They're happy, they're successful. That's what works for them. That's how we look at life. That's how we view it. That's how we live our lives in a certain particular order. The title man, I just don't take on the title man and not understand the responsibility that comes with it. And for the things that you have experienced, and so many other, females out here that experience these things, I'm sorry you guys went through that. But that's not every man. It's just not. And the thing is, this is why it's imperative for women to have men in their lives, so a man can show you, like, hey, excuse my French, that's a fuck nigga. No, you're not going to lay down with him. You're not even going to go near him. And if you go near that nigga, I'm either going to beat his ass up. so you won't even go near him. So you'll know not to fuck with him because he ain't gonna do shit to you but hurt you. But see, a lot of women don't have men in their lives, brothers, fathers, that say, hey, yo, that's not what you're supposed to be messing with. Or if they do, they are so rebellious to say, nigga, you can't tell me what to do. And then when they mess with the nigga and he turns out to be a fucking clown, then now you mad. Instead of your brother was there to protect you, a man was there to protect you, somebody said, hey, don't mess with that nigga. And you did it on your own regard. So every man is not like myself. I'm not going to sit up here and say every man is like me. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm not the type of man that goes out of my way and disrespects women, or if I'm living a particular lifestyle, if the role of me is the man of the house and she falls into order with that, that don't mean that, oh, she's a robot or so on and so forth. That means she understands the order. We both agreed on that, or she wouldn't be with me. She understands the type of man I am, and she knows I'm not going to change. But she knows by me being the type of man I am and by she being the type of woman, she can get anything from me. She gets love, protection. She is pleased in every way you think possible. She is considered. And also there are women working and they never wanted to work. They was looking for a man that's going to fall into his divine order and take care of them and treat them like the queens that they're supposed to be, and treat them and appreciate the fact that they are having babies for them, and they're tearing their bodies up and going near death to bring children into this world. I'm that type of man. You see what I'm saying? When my wife be pregnant, she's going to be catered to. She's going to be pampered. She's going to be taken care of. That's what I do. She don't have to lift a goddamn thing, because she's giving me the privilege of bringing forth my son or daughter through her body. So for them 9 months, she can get away with anything with me. You feel what I'm saying? It ain't a daggone thing she can say that she can do wrong, because I appreciate the fact that she's carrying my child. But even after those 9 months, that's how I'm going to treat my wife. That's how I'm going to treat her, and I'm going to continue to treat her, because any woman that I'm going to be with, I feel as though she is such, and I'm going to treat her not just because she calls herself a woman, a queen, but she behaves like it. She behaves like it. She honors herself like it, and then she honors me. So she can get anything out of me. So it's not the fact that I'm trying to stop her dreams. Her dreams weren't never to be that. That's why you got to find people on the same wavelength as where you're going at. Her dreams was never to try to carry a family by herself. She never want that. It was what was given to her. She had no choice but to stand strong. But now I'm here now, and I got her. So that's all I had to say.
All right.
I'm just gonna say my talking points is what worked in my household growing up. It's worked in the households that I've seen, and it's working in my household of almost 12 years. So I don't, not going to debate my thoughts, my views. It's how I move. And I don't think God wants me to just, if I wake up with a vision or a dream, I don't think God would ever want me personally to go, oh, my husband don't want me to dream. He don't want me to have a vision for my life. I'm going to do what he say. I don't think that's biblical. And I don't agree with that. But if that's how you move in your relationships, in your household, that's how you move. That's it. I'm not going to say it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's just not what works for me. And I don't have to justify it or rebuttal it because I'm living it. So my husband wanted me to go after this nonprofit. My husband sacrificed the time for me to put in the work for it. My husband paid for me to file the paperwork. My husband flew me to where I needed to go to be in the meetings. So that's all I'm going to say on that point. I don't think he's less of a man of God than someone who wouldn't do it. It's just what worked for us And that's how we roll. That's it. That's all.
I want to give a warm shout outs to Bolo TV, and also like salutes to everyone in the panel. So thank you everyone for joining in. Good to see you, Ross. Truth is never favorite, and the Knowledge Relations team as well. So
Welcome, Bolo.
salute.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this, and I'll just make it quick. Um, a real man, in my opinion, you know, is gonna allow his woman to live up to her dreams and aspirations, as long as she's not doing anything that relates to like Instagram and being a thought. You know, I personally don't have a problem. You know, if Mrs. M3 has like a dream that she wants to accomplish and it's benefiting for our household, I'm more for it and I'm very supportive. I'll invest whatever I can to help support her as much as, she's going to support me and whatever, I'm trying to do. And so I know everybody has a different opinion, so I respect that. I didn't catch everyone's opinion, so I'm just letting you know. But if men prefer to not want their wives to work, that's something that should already be discussed before you marry them. So as long as they have that type of agreement, that's totally fine. Just make sure that, hey, if you feeling something different, make sure you guys talk it out and have a compromise to it. But if you already made it set in stone, then you should actually respect that. That's like if a man before he gets married tells his woman, "Hey, look, I don't want you to have girls trips because girls trips leads into whole trips, and hotels, you know. So if that person made that agreement and she agrees to it, then she should not be doing it. And that's no negotiation to that. Okay? Same thing. If she's like, hey, I feel this type of way because women are always gonna feel. I feel like this type of way, if you are spending this time with this particular person, and if that man is like, hey, you know what, if that's gonna make you feel a certain type of way, I'm not gonna do that. But if he does, he's taking back on his word. The point is, no one should take back on anything that they made like an agreement to. That's how you solve a lot of problems. The main issue is that people lie. People lie so much just to try to get by because both are scared. If a man lies to a woman and says, hey, I'm not going to do this, and you do it anyways, then you're a punk. You know what I mean? You're worse than like some of these other people that's out there on the YouTube streets. If a woman, if a woman is saying that, yo, all right, I'm not going to do this, but she does this behind your back, and trust me, I know plenty of women that do a lot of things behind their husband's back. But I digress. Those are not actually women. You know what I mean? Those, you shouldn't even marry them in the first place. But people are going to lie their way just so they could just get by, make you feel comfortable, and then that's it. And then when they get caught, that's why you have so many problems. So, Queen, my message to you is that if you have your aspirations and your husband supporting you, then hey, kudos to y'all. You know what I mean? It's not up to the world to judge you guys or to make certain people feel like they're less of a man because he's supporting his woman. That's what the fuck he's doing for his relationship. That ain't nobody else's business. Some of the people that you be judging, they don't even have relationships. Some of these women, y'all can't even get a man. And some of these men don't even know how to talk to a woman. So that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you, Blue Light Special.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I want to quickly read some of the comments, and this last, I'll say 25, 30 minutes, we're just going to open up for last remarks, just comments. So Princess K, hey, what's up, lady? She says, hey, y'all, I'm listening. Unfortunately, you can join us tonight. A high value nurse says, women were severely duped by feminism. Princess K says, let's be honest, I can't speak for other communities, but feminism was never geared toward the average black woman. It really wasn't. Black women just kind of jumped in the movements and hoping that it would,
No,
whatever the
they
cause was,
used
would
us as
benefit us.
pawns. They used
Yeah,
us as pawns to include us in their movements so that their movements wouldn't be exposed for the racist movements that they were.
all right. The high value nurses, a lot of women say they never would want to stay home. The problem is that 85% of them never had the option. It's a whole different attitude for women with less stress. Okay. Sophia's
Fact.
she having
Fact.
some issues. We want to thank Sophia for joining us and sharing her thoughts and views on the matter. Let's see where I got lost. Okay, Princess K says, you would rather stress than let someone handle it? Shaking my head. I can't understand wanting to be self sufficient, but let's work smarter instead of harder, please. I don't know who exactly that was directed to. She also says different things work for different people. Queen has a point too. And I'm not just saying that because I'm part of her fan club. Okay.
What's up, girl?
Princess K also says, I had an interesting conversation with my first lady today on marriage and partnership. Her husband is a bishop and she's a doctor. They have been married for over 45 years and are happy. I so wish that I could have recorded the convo and sent it here because I think many fellow young women would have taken much wisdom from what she and the other mothers had to say. So, and thank you, Marcus, for shouting out everybody. Bolo TV, thank you so much for joining us and being patient. Please, please, please have your say, and then the rest of us will go around later and give our final remarks.
Hey, first I want to say thank you for having me up. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How you guys doing? Uh,
Wonderful.
I think in this conversation that we're always having about the positioning of men and women in the marriage, I think that we have to listen more, and hear the conversations coming from the men. And what we're hearing is, well, let me put it to you this way: it's like if you take a man that could not speak, or a person that could not speak all their life, and then you give them a voice at the age of 38. They're going to talk about everything that went through them, everything they've been through from the age of 2 up to when they're 38. So you need to be patient. So men haven't had this type of voice as of today as we have on YouTube. So there's a lot of things that we're saying, a lot of things that we're getting off our chest. But the one thing I wanted to say is this, man. When we read about Proverbs 31, that woman, that virtuous
Mm.
woman, she didn't stay at home. So I really don't get where men are talking about that women were pregnant and stayed home. It said that she was outside in the streets like the merchant ships. Merchant ships leave early. She was working. She wasn't in the crib. So when people, if you're going to quote the scriptures, quote them right. If you're going to use the Bible as your talking points for, you're going to use biblical talking points for carnal life, it's not going to work. And that's why it doesn't work for these guys. That's why it doesn't work. You can't take spiritual principles and use them as the foundation for a carnal life. It's not going to work. So when your women submit, right? Because everyone's quoting the scriptures, you hear everyone quoting. When a woman submits, she's not submitting to her man. She is submitting to who he represents. That's why the scripture says, wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. She is submitting to whom he represents because he's supposed to be the physical representation of Christ. So she is submitting to his power, not the man's power. And this is what we have to understand. And we're misquoting, and we're not representing these scriptures right. And when it talks about the husbands, here's the thing, man, that we need to understand. The difference between a traditional woman and a modern woman is a modern woman is about her bread. She's about trying to get things done, feminist, whatever else you want to stack on top of it. A traditional woman is a woman that's malleable. She's tenacious. She goes into whatever situations that she needs to go in, do whatever she needs to do, and come home and understands her position in the home. This is what we need to understand. I don't care if my woman has 12 degrees. I don't care if she's the president. She understands her position in the home. Why? Because first, she was a child of God. And when she has that relationship with God, she already understands. There's no reason for me to have to tell her, Miss Bolo, you got to submit. She already understands that. Now, the reason why I brought that up is this. Men will always love women more than women will love men. Let me say it again. Men will always love women or love their wives more than a woman, their wife, can love them. Now, you're probably saying that's impossible. No, it's not. Let me explain why. The love that a man gives a woman is sacrificing, sacrificial. This is why it says, verse 25, husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. He has to say that for the wife. He says that for the husband. That the love that we're supposed to have is supposed to be sacrificing. This is what cats don't get. They want to take the power out of it, but they don't want to take the subjection that's in it. We are subjected to our families. We are more servants than we are kings. This is Christ's example. That's why he says that he might sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of the water by the word, that he might present her to himself as a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing. How did he do that? He gave his life to die. That's how he did it. And he's telling you, husbands, love your wives like I loved you. Now, why do I say loved you? Because when we read Revelations 15, I think 21, sorry, the tabernacle of the Lord is with men. So he gives you this example, right? When we read 1 Corinthians, he tells you that the glory of God is Christ, the glory of Christ is man, the glory of man is the woman. So he gives you this breakdown that we ought to follow. So he's telling you, husbands, I loved you as my wife, metaphorically, right? I led, I guided, I provided, I sacrificed, I nurtured you. Have that same type of love that I gave you to your wife. So if my wife is a better mechanic than me, guess who's maintaining the cars? Her. That doesn't make me less of a man. I'd be a fool if I said I'm going to do it when I know that she's better at it. You're foolish. If my woman knows how to cook better than me, guess who's doing the cooking? Me. I mean, her. If I know how to cook better than her, guess who's doing the cooking? Me. Cats got to get off that nonsense of this is a job for a woman or just is a job for man. Understand your positioning in your home. Understand that. Because if my woman can't wash clothes, I am not going to let her mess up my jeans. Believe that. That's not happening. So what we have to understand is before she's a wife, a mother, she's a woman of God. Before I'm a father, a husband, I'm a man of God. So when we have that relationship with him and understand, it's just you knowing your worth, right? If I know what my worth is, it's going to show forth in my standard. So when I meet these women, it's going to show forth in my standard. Ma, this is what I'm looking for. See, a lot of us are not patient. We look for what we want opposed to what we need. I need a woman that's going to multiply what I bring in. I need a woman that's going to cover me. I need a woman that's going to pray for me. I need a woman that's going to be a pillar of rest, not a pillar of stress, and so forth and so on. See, what we want is that woman with that fat behind. What we want is that woman with the nice breasts. We need to start grabbing what we need. We spend more time on getting our credit correct than we do trying to find our spouses. That doesn't make any sense to me. It makes no sense to me at all that we spend more time on trying to get a whip, trying to find where that Gucci bag is, than sitting down having a conversation with this potential spouse and find out where their mind frame is at. And then when we get her pregnant, or when she gets pregnant, we want to call her a thought. We want to say she was for the streets. But if she was for the streets, what does that mean? What were you? Or what are you? If that man was a Pookie and Ray Ray, what are you? Because you went and found him. He was where he was. See, it's really easy to always blame the person that is across the room. It's harder to look in the mirror and blame yourself, because when you realize you're the problem, you also have to realize that you have to become the solution. And that's what Christ is based on, you being the solution. That's why he says, brothers, love yourselves like you love your brother. You have to love yourself first, because I need to know how I want to be treated. The scriptures here tells you husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. Would you tell your body to shut the hell up and be quiet? Would you do that? Would you treat your body like a piece of crap? No, you wouldn't. So why would you treat your wife that way? Doesn't mean that there's not going to be a time when you have to put the foot down. No one is saying that. But what the Lord is telling you is you shouldn't live in that type of lifestyle. The lion doesn't roar when it comes home. It roars when it needs to. And that's what it's talking about. So I think that when we give out these talking points about women need to be in order, and women need to be submissive, and women need to be this. Listen, dogs, if you're doing what you need to do, then your vibe is going to attract your tribe. You will attract the woman that is going to be for you, because you know why? The Lord ain't going to give a bad woman to a good man. And he's not going to give a bad man to a good woman. That's just not how it works. So we need to start being patient in who we pick. Maybe the Lord wants you to meet your woman at 54. Maybe. It just may be that way. Whatever he has meant for you is yours. The only one that can mess it up is you. It's the only person. So we can have these talking points where it's circular, because that's what these talking points are. It's circular. Well, the women don't know nothing, and the man got to do this, and the man got to do this. Both of y'all need to shut the hell up. Before you go talking to a woman, get to know who you are first. Before you go talking to a man, get to know who you are first. Know what your worth is. Know what your integrity is. Know where your direction is. And once you can do that, once you have that relationship with the Father, when it's time for you to build with that man, it ain't gonna be no issue. And that's where I land.
Yo, number one. Yo, round of applause. Yes. Yes. And 2 hours. Write this down. 2 hours and 22 minutes. We're clipping this. 2 hours and 22 minutes.
Thank you,
yes. Bolo, thank you, brother. Man, much love to you too. I haven't seen you in a minute. What's up, Bolo?
Bolo, I have to give the air horn for that one, man, because QB, do you mind if I say something just a quick second? Thank you. Bolo TV, thank you for everything that you're saying. You know, sometimes, man, people need to hear that. And now, this is not me trying to pander on these women or whatever, but to meet the common ground and to provide a solution for both sides. Unfortunately, young folks don't know how to chill. You know, I'm not telling nobody to settle, and that's not what he's talking about. But get to know yourself first before trying to run through someone else and ruin their life. So, and by the way, anybody that knows how to clip, definitely need some more clips.
Add this to that. Let me add this. When we read the scriptures, the Lord never called for women to love men. Because when you read the last verse 33, it says, nevertheless, let each one of you in particular so love his own wife. Listen, so love his own wife as himself, and let his wife see that she respects her husband. See, love for a woman is different than love for a man. Strength in a woman is different than strength in a man. See, this is why when men treat women like men, it's because that vibration that you're pushing off is that of a male vibration. So at this point, we're no longer dealing with that feminine vibration. Femininity is perfectly created the way it is. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to redefine it. It is what it is, and same as masculinity. So the point is, when a woman is strong in her femininity, there is nothing that you can't do. For example, you see Samson and Delilah. Delilah was strong in her femininity, although she was wicked as hell. She had this man tell her 3 times his weakness, 3 times, and he woke up in that. She didn't yell at him because she knew she wouldn't have got the answer. So women, understand your femininity. Understand that if you need to take a break and walk away so that you don't get out of order, then do that. Men, if you need to take a walk away and just take 3 seconds, do that. But understand, when we know our positions and what we're supposed to do, again, our positions doesn't mean that my woman don't go out there and change the oil in my car. She may know how to do it better than I do. Kings knew what their people were for, and kings appointed the best man for that job. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do it when I know I can't. If M3 is the best to deal with the video, then M3 is doing it. Is Razik is good at the audio, Razik is doing it. If Miss Jones is good at the connections, this is what she's doing. We all know our positions, and when we play it, we move flawlessly. But when you have cats, baseball players trying to be hockey players and hockey players trying to be soccer players, this is when we have problems. This is when we have issues. And I'll end with this. In the eyes of God, men and women are created equal in creation. Let me say that again. Men and women are created equal in creation, but men and women are not created equal in purpose. We are not equal in purpose. We are equal in creation. In other words, God loves the eagle as much as he loves the mouse, but he created the eagle to eat the mouse. So they're not created for the same purpose. And we have to understand that. So when women are saying I can do what men can do and such and such, now things are out of course.
Yep.
Now you're not moving in that feminine vibration. So now men are going to start looking at you like, okay, so now chivalry, so you don't need me to open up that door since you can do what I can do. If you're going to take the position and take what I do or take the things that I do and say that you can do it, cool. But understand, to every action there's a reaction. So be like Razik said, understand you got to deal with the ramifications of the decisions that you make. So this is a game of chess. This is not checkers, ladies. Chess. You are a gift given unto a man. Pick wisely who you give yourself to.
That's right. Bolo, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about when it says to becoming one? What is your definition of what that means?
Well, okay. Again, there's no definition that I give. The scripture says that she follows his purpose. It's his purpose that she's following, right? That's what it means. It means that they speak, they understand. When he thinks, she can answer, and vice versa. They understand the greater good. He communicates with her. So again, that doesn't mean that you can't go out there and have your 8 degrees, but you understand what those degrees are being used for. It's not being used to propel yourself above him. It's being used to bring back the spoils to the home so that we can build and multiply and function as a unit towards the Father. That's what it's for. I hope I answered your question.
Always, no doubt.
Thank you, Bolo, for sharing your perspective. And again, I wanted to say thank you to every single person that has joined the chat and the panel. Shout out to Von Bryant. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to make sure he's the only person I didn't miss. Okay. Want to thank everyone for joining us tonight for Ladies Night Sip and Chat. Me and Mrs. M3 already shared we're sipping just some good old H2O. So hope everyone got their healthy sip on or whatever your libation of choice. Anywho, so right now I want to give everybody M3. Can we give 3 minutes? We're going to go around in the order that I see you on my screen. Everybody gets 3 minutes, and of course, Mr. Dustin M3 go last. So we'll start with Mrs. M3. Any final thoughts on being a boss lady? Can they exist together? Traditional versus modern? Anything that has been talked about on tonight?
Yes, I think just move in your purpose. I think everything that was shared tonight was spot on. If you're a person who follows, the scriptures, the Quran, whatever it is, tap into that higher source, what you believe is your higher source, and make sure that within yourself, you're not crossing value boundaries, because when you cross out your values, that's when you start to dislike yourself, right? It's not necessarily I want pizza and you bring them back chips. If you can get them pizza, get them pizza. But if it's values, those are the things where you have to reevaluate, because your relationship hinges on your happiness. So if they're crossing out boundaries and value system, things that you regard and that you value, you're going to lose yourself, because your values, your beliefs are what got you to the person that you are, especially if you're meeting them after, 7 years old, elementary school, high school. You've got a value system, whether you've tapped into it or not. And when someone crosses those or makes you feel lesser about your values, that can be the thing that is the catalyst that takes you in a trajectory for not liking yourself, because you're trying to prove yourself to that person. That's the part. Just understanding that you have a purpose, they have a purpose, and finding someone that values the purpose that God already put in you. You're a whole person meeting another whole person. Maybe there's things about you that are broken. There's a value system there in place, and God will help you meet them at the right time. As Bola was saying, you might be 54 when you meet the person that God sends to you, because you're getting prepared. You're getting yourself ready. So that's what I have to say.
All right.
Hold on, I wanna welcome High Value Nurse to the stage. QB, I want let's do this. I want High Value Nurse to share his perspective real quick, and then we'll close it out. If that's okay, is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay. High Value Nurse, what's going on, baby? What's good?
What's up,
Hey,
man?
ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I just want to say, great, great show from the ladies tonight. Y'all have kept me thoroughly entertained during my shifts. Y'all got me through the whole shift and the last couple of hours. I'm about to go home in a few minutes, so I just want to say, phenomenal show. But one thing I want to add, I think men, I think men have to become more focused on being the best versions of themselves. Because one thing that I tend to notice among men who are very successful and who are the best versions of themselves and continuously pushing to new heights, they never have these problems and these issues that most of the society has. They don't have them. And the more successful and the more that I continue to push myself, my lady falls more in line with my direction, because she sees me progressing. And all women want to be a part of something great. Point blank, period. All women want to be a part of something great. They don't want, every woman wants a man that they can brag about. And I think that's where a lot of the miscommunication comes from, and a lot of the resentment comes from, because yes, it's true that women have 80% more options than men, but they don't want the 80%. They still want the top. And you have to go accordingly. We are not in the traditional world anymore. And a lot of men are upset about that. A lot of men are upset that you can't just split the bills, and you can't just make $30,000 and she's there with her apron on ready to serve. That's not the world that we live in, at least not in this country anyway. So I just think men have to adapt, no more complaining, actually put in the work and really grind. Because again, no woman wants to go into poverty. No woman wants to be with a man who loses and who is a loser. They may settle for that, but they don't really want it. So just continue to do the work. And that's really all I had to say. And shout out to everybody on the panel.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, High Value Nurse, and also congratulations, man, on getting a shout out from the legend himself, Mr. AMS, Alpha Male Strategies.
Yeah, man. Shout out to AMS, man. Just grinding, man. Just grinding.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
All right. So next, Razik, if you don't mind, we'll let the next lady go, and then we'll come back to you.
Which would be Queen, yes.
Queen, you got about 3 minutes, ma'am. Is she still here? Um. Okay. Well, maybe she'll pop back in. Well then, Razik.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much nothing else to say. I think Bolo pretty much tied up, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Dotted up the I's and crossed all the T's, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not a particular you know, Bible head, you know what I'm saying? But you know, I'm very well of the rules and the guidelines, you know what I'm saying, of it. But yeah, you know what I mean? You know, I'm not gonna over talk, you know, what he said. I mean, he pretty much said a lot, you know what I mean? And you know, I really don't have no you know, uh pushback from
Okay.
anything that he did say. So that's it.
Well, I appreciate you for joining us and sharing your perspective on the conversation tonight. Thank you. Okay, truth dropped down. So, Bolo, did you want to have any final words? 3 minutes. And one thing I
Yeah, I
wanted
don't
to
think
go
I'm
back
gonna
since
get it.
did you catch the beginning of the conversation?
I'm sorry, say it again, darling.
Did you catch the beginning of our conversation?
I did not. I did not.
Okay, so the initial questions were about traditional versus modern. Being a boss lady, can those personas exist in the same time and space? And then so that was what jump started the whole conversation. So if you want to talk about that or sum up what you said, or just add to just whatever you would like to say in these final moments, but you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I think it goes into the femininity of the woman. Again, like I said, a traditional woman is going to be able to be tenacious enough to go into any setting, to go in and do what she needs to do, whether it be getting degrees, masters, whatever, or conquering, or getting that nonprofit, whatever the situation is, and always keep her eyes on the prize. Same as a man, your traditional man. They operate by the same rules and regulations. Um, I think that a lot of the times we get lost, and we have to understand that in this world that we live in, how we feel affects how we see. How we feel affects how we see. So when you have certain women that have been used and abused, and you have men that have been used and abused by the opposite sex, it's going to affect how they see it. Unless they get help, unless they, go to therapy and work out those traumas, they will continue to move in those traumas. And we have to understand that also, um, marriage isn't always going to be happy. If we go into marriage thinking that everything is going to be roses, then don't get married. Don't get married because it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. So, what I would say to you, men and women, be mindful of the people that are around you. Be mindful of the people that pour into you, because when you are broken, and you will be broken, we all fall victim. We all fall short. These are the people that will pour into you. These are the people that will build you up. And understand, if you hang out with 11 broke people, sooner or later you become the 12th. God bless you and have a blessed night, guys. Thank you for letting me up. That's it.
Thank you very much. All right, Queen, did you ever come back to us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So
I
you were
think my final thoughts are, you know, look, hey, you go for somebody that fits your mold. By all means, stick with it and gravitate to it. But don't, we don't have to put down or judge others, because that's not the way it's working for us. Everybody's household is different. Everything in life works for you, may not work for me, and it's okay. Doesn't make people less of a man or less of a woman because what we choose to do and how we choose to roll. Respect it and keep it pushing. But I must say that, I think people are the way they are because of the responses and the reactions they get. So these young community, these young women, I try to talk to them all the time. I try to speak to them, but they don't they ain't gonna listen to Queen because Queen ain't got a million followers on YouTube, or Queen ain't got this, or Queen ain't doing this. That's what they want. Those are the women that they aspire to be. But they aspire to be that because of the accolades that we perceive these women are getting. That's what they want. And that's all I'm going to say. Respect each other. Like, I'm a boss lady, but at the end of the day, I got a boss king at home. And I move the way I move, and I'm able to do what I do because he allows me the space to do it. He allows me the road to walk on. He allows the pavement. He allows the gas in the car. He allows the bills to be paid. And he allows the lights and the food and the laundry to be done because that's what he do. He leads the way so that I can walk and support him. And we support each other back to back. So when one's weak, the other one's got it. When the other one's weak, the other one's got it. That's what we do. And his vision for me was bigger than my vision for myself, and vice versa. And that's the man I gravitated to. And that's why we are almost 12 years strong, good, bad, and ugly, and beautiful. And on that note, I digress.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Queen. I guess I haven't really just shared a whole lot. I have shared some of my views. I'm the type of person, and people say I live in a fantasy bubble, and that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. I do feel that I can be a boss in the boardroom when I need to be, but when I come home, I know how to take all of that armor off and be a lady to my man, be a wife, be a safe space for him, because men have a target on their back, and especially our black men, they have a target on their back from the moment they're born. And so, while yes, black women face their own issues, the black men face quite a few. And I know how to, while I haven't had the best experience with men, that still doesn't harden my heart towards still being a soft, loving person towards men. Now, am I reluctant and am I a little skeptical? Oh, yes, I'm very, very much so. However, that's why I have so many hidden scars because I've opened myself up and allowed myself to be something for someone who wasn't worthy or deserve it. But am I going to have a cold heart? Not right now. There have been times in my life where I have been cold hearted and I just said F the world then. But I'm not like that now. But unfortunately, life has taken me in a different turn. And whenever I get out of this valley moment of my life, I do pray that what I desire is on the other side, is on the top, is on the mountaintop, waiting for me, you know. But I won't know until I get there. So in the meantime, I'm going to be the boss I can in these podcasts and YouTube streets that I can. Be the best boss I can be until I get to where I can lay that armor down. So anyway, those are my thoughts. um, so M3, Mr. Best, y'all draw straws for who go with that.
I'll just say this. I'll make it quick. I think both are necessary. Men and women both need to do their part, do their role, and support each other. You know what I mean? Support each other, encourage each other, help each other to grow. And also, in that sometimes you have to, you got to tell your spouse, when they wrong, and you got to tell them when they right. You know what I'm saying? and that's how you're gonna grow. If you're not able to help each other, or you don't want to see each other in a better space, then you don't need to be together. But if you are going to help that person be in a better space, and you care about their overall well being, not just what they can provide for you, but their overall well being. You know what I'm saying? And thank you for everybody for liking and subscribing. We are on the road to 900. You know what I mean? I know y'all see it. It's about to be that real soon. So yeah, holla at us. M3, take it away, bro.
All right, thank you, Mr. Intellectual Soapbox. Von Brian is to pronounce Cubila. It's to say
Qua,
Q. It's Qua?
Quabila.
Quabila. Oh. All right, well, Quabila. But yeah, I mean overall, okay. Every boss lady has a boss man. You know what I mean? So if you want your woman to be like a boss or whatever, right? You got to be the boss man yourself. Now that doesn't mean she's the boss over you. You know what I mean? But when it comes to the world around her, the children, we gotta train our families, okay, to practice emotional intelligence, to know how to get our way around through the system, through hardships. And when we do go through these hardships, we have to create an open space for families to be able to open up. I think a issue, especially within the black community, there's not a space for people to talk, you know, and to get their issues out and, you know, just let loose. So then everything's projected in a higher aggression that's detrimental around society because you have those people. And matter of fact, I should even talk about the black community because I feel like this is more like a universal type of thing. You know what I mean? That's why, like, you know, you have like school shooters, but we're not gonna get to that part. But anyways, the point is we gotta create a healthy space for people to, you know, say what they need to say, but without the disrespect. You know what I mean? And it starts off with the leadership of men leading, and it's also trickles down to the wife following. Okay, not every man's gonna be a leader, not everyone's gonna be a leader. So if a man can't be a leader, okay, don't choose a woman that's not gonna follow. Okay, matter of fact, you shouldn't even be in a no relationship until you learn as a man how to lead accordingly, especially if you're going to use scriptures, especially if it's based off of Bible references. Like, really analyze deep into your Bible and learn how to lead correctly through the righteous way. And you pick a woman who's going to be willing to follow your lead and your directions. Thank you, Quabila. Quabi.
Say Quabila. Like
I said Quabila.
Quabila. Like, we'll stress the B. Like,
Oh, see, that's too much, man. Let's see.
my daddy picked that name. I got nothing to do.
Next thing you know, you're gonna tell me to roll my tongue, all right?
Well, look, go find you a person that speaks Swahili. No, it's actually Arabic. Ask somebody who speaks Arabic and ask them to pronounce it for you. Alrighty. So, Mr. Best, did you say your final piece?
Say again?
Mr. Best, did he say his final piece?
Yeah, he went before me.
All right. So again, thank you everybody. Much love to all the panelists. We're not gonna always agree. We're gonna always walk away, hopefully with our feelings intact. I know a couple times I've let my emotions get the best of me, but I'm human. Anywho, but tonight has been a great night, and I really appreciate you all for indulging this conversation. So thank you for joining ladies tonight on Knowledge and Relationships. A little sip and chat. Hopefully next time I can have something to really spill on. But anyway, I digress. So M3, take us out.
All right. Thank you everyone for tuning to Knowledge and Relationships Ladies Night. Everyone that's still in the chat, we are about to end, but leave a feedback. And here's something. Let's do something fun. Show off your favorite moment that you like about this conversation and just place a time stamp. It could be anything, but place a timestamp and let us know what's your favorite. So that way we could add that into the live stream and you could easily click and go back to it as chapters. Plus, if anybody else is willing to help Knowledge Relationships with timestamps, please let us know. We are looking for possible suitable candidates that can be able to help us with a timestamp so that way we can provide you the best we can with these chapters. I know
Hey,
it's not
look,
easy.
I would be able to do it. I mean, it ain't extremely hard. However, it does consume a lot of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And probably be time that I just don't have. But I would do it though, because like trying to do the last stream, like that journey almost took like about 6 hours. I ain't lying, and I still ain't even. I'm still like an hour short. So
Man,
yeah,
I
but
feel you.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah, we'll try to find somebody soon, man. But anyways, anybody that wanna volunteer a job, man, please let us know. Anyways, thank you everyone for tuning in to Knowledge and Relationships Ladies Night.
Go, y'all be good.
Mm-hmm. And we are out soon as I play the outro. All right, let's cue it.